Hello, everybody, and welcome to Open Division. It's EMEA over here, and we are in the winners round number 5, starting things off today. But before we get into that, my name is Marks, and I'm casting alongside username Intel. We've got Cinzia on our production and Kothar observing us. And user, how you doing today?
Say I'm doing great, the NA lifestyle, but casting the EU because I gotta say, these EU matches have been extremely interesting as we've kind of gone up to this point. Again, a lot of these teams are still fighting, especially to get into not only that contender seat, but to be able to play on Overwatch 2. Lucky people. So it's, I'm very excited to see how these teams are going to work because it's Frost Sale versus Prestige and Jellies, whichever way you really want to say it, because it's 2 L's. Hopefully they won't take it. In a first of 3, best of 5 type of scenario. I got to admit to you, I don't have a clear outcome because both of these teams have done absolutely amazing coming into this. They've both been extremely prepared. They've had a lot of teams. I mean, Angelis have had to take out one of their own org teams to be able to make it here. So they're more than prepared.
Yeah, Angeli's just kind of flexing on the other side of the Prestige brand, just being like, yes, that's right. dominance asserted. But
Mhm.
yeah, like you said, both of these teams are looking pretty good. And on top of that, too, since we are on the winners bracket, they've gone completely undefeated. For the open division, this is a double elimination bracket. So even if one of these teams loses, you just get sent down to the losers bracket. So there's a little bit of wiggle room left. But like you said, a lot to play for, of course. Overwatch 2 beta. But of course, more importantly, making your way into the contender scene is obviously something that a lot of these teams are eyeing up as well. And I think that's kind of what makes a lot of these games just that much more interesting.
You're absolutely right. But when we're looking at both of these teams, especially when we eventually get into map one, because that's going to be absolutely essential for the momentum booster, both of these teams, while their names might not be like fully recognizable, these players may kind of hit a sweet spot in your head, Marks. I mean, if we're talking about Frost Tales, they've got players that used to be on places such as Angry Titans and Altiora Gaming, which are fairly known. I think by name we can obviously recognize them. And then if we go over to like prestigious, they've had a player from Mind Goblin, they've had a player from Region EU and other places. And so these teams are prepared. They've had the talent, but it's all about putting themselves together. I do have to say though, Frost Tales have pretty much had a consistent roster besides from maybe their main support for a considerable amount of time. And well, that could be a very big problem when we're talking about kind of synergy and how that's going to be affecting them continuing on in the series.
Yeah, and actually, we're just getting some alive pieces of information about this specific matchup here, user. Apparently, both these teams have fought each other yesterday in a LAN. And, of course, we want to see maybe one of these teams will come out on top. But we have a little bit of information as to which one won yesterday. And you want to, okay, wait, did you already look at the spoiler tag? Did you get the intel
No,
drop that
no,
I've
no,
gotten?
no,
Okay,
no.
all right, we're going
I'm
to keep
not
that
looking at it.
quiet.
You got to hit. Mhm.
Okay, if I got to hit you with it, turns out Frost Tales, word on the street is that they won yesterday. So
Ooh.
I think that's going to be interesting to setting up how these teams are going to interact with each other. Suddenly we've got a little bit of a narrative being put together that Frost Tales
Mm.
looking a little bit better, but at least this might be their chance to kind of clap back at them in an actual tournament, which has okay, I don't want to put down the line that happened on yesterday, but has a
Yeah.
little bit more potential in furthering their Overwatch path to pro careers.
I mean, if we're wanting to be a little funny, then we can obviously just say that, well, this won't hit like a LAN does, as, a famous Smash player would say. And that means Frost Tales are definitely coming into this just feeling a little bit more confident. They're obviously going to just be a little happier coming into this because it technically counts as a scrim, but that means Prestige have a atmosphere of we've lost, we've already got to see these players, we're friends. So how is it going to work when we're going into the next map? What is going to be our mindset? Especially because map 1 is always predetermined, and that means we already know what map we're going to go on. That means we are fully prepared with how this is going to work, because Nepal, of all points, I think is at least a bit more comfortable on both of these team styles, and well, it's by far one of my more favorite maps.
Yeah, and also too, just speaking about how things work, especially too in these map choices, the control map I think is always such an interesting choice because control lets you really just flex out different styles of your team. And Nepal is a
Mhm.
great example of that. All of the different points support different styles that kind of come in and just really set the stage, I think, for allowing us information as to how these teams are going to be working. And just like you said, we're going to be starting things out on Nepal, very first map, and then we're going to be moving to our escort, hybrid, and then assaults. And if that map 5 is necessary, we're moving right back to control.
Nepal, I think, as a map, especially during the EU series, has just been a very confusing one. A lot of these teams, especially the more we're looking at the winners bracket, don't tend to stay with the same composition per team, and that's just kind of showing off their style. But they tend to run the same composition at least 2 out of 3 of them. All right, so we know we're going to be looking at least some form to build off these teams. But look at that. We really don't want to kind of stay with the status quo. We are going to be switching it out and going over to Oasis just to kind of make sure that you guys are paying attention, make sure you're focused in. But Oasis as a map, when it comes down to these teams, has always been, I think, more... It's almost like the King's Row of points or the Lijiang Tower. When we're looking at how these teams are going to be playing, it tends to be either a lot of very quick compositions, which often are involving a monkey and or a Reinhardt, though the Wrecking Ball does have a bit of favoritism at times, such as on I believe I believe it's City Center, if that's what it's called. You can always sometimes remember here and there. Regardless, we're looking at a point to where these team styles are absolutely crucial if they want to be able to kind of push themselves into map 2. And look at that, Pure. I remember Pure Irish. Love that guy.
And yeah, once again, Flip has been a script on us. We're going into Oasis to start things out. And yeah, this is it's kind of actually funny looking back at this map now with this current lighting, because Overwatch 2 beta was out. They changed up all the different lighting cues, and this was a nighttime map in the future. But for now, we're going to be getting into this. Frosttails up against Angelis. It's going to be map number 1. Let's see what these teams want to roll out with.
Honestly, I'm more upset that I didn't point out the fact that the Wrecking Ball composition at this level is extremely popular. And as we see, I mean, they're already wanting to walk out. They're wanting to try and take an advantage. So this is really kind of more of a who can kill each other first. A Pharah versus the more grounded hit scan type. At least we can see, oh my god.
What a tech. Just going in there. Slen's just trying to pelt out some rockets. Maybe reposition a couple of people here, but has to be extremely careful. There's a Cassidy just raining in those bullets, and that Peacemaker is going to hurt, especially if you're in the air. But still, none of these teams have really gotten a kill just quite yet, so they're just going to continue to trade poke and potentially build up to a couple of ultimates before the real engage happens.
Quite honestly, it's really hard for Prestige to kind of move into this because they have the Pharah. They're not really the engagers. As you see, Frosttails making sure that, well, it's really hard for them to be able to push in. They're taking in with a lot of damage, but Frosttails are eventually being burst down. They haven't finished this fight fast enough.
Yeah, and both of the Tracers are immediately down right off the bat. A lot of people low on the tails of Frosttails. They're really trying to add that pressure on. The point is live right now. Frosttails already 2/3 ready to cap that one. Slendax just still in the background, just completely just pelting in rockets. So close to the ultimate already, but it looks like Frosttails are going to be able to win this one out. Slendax has to retreat.
Ooh.
Can't get away. Killa living up to the name, and just like that, it is going to be the first cap for Frosttails.
Honestly, Prestige with the Pharah, and especially having to poke into this type of fight, it is extremely difficult. They just don't have the liberties that you naturally would on, say, Lijiang Tower with all the natural cover, because this map is very wide and open. But Prestige did an amazing job contesting that point. Frosttails would have had a bigger time bank otherwise, but with this fight kind of convening in, at least they're able to get that transcended. You get that out early, you get to see how this fight's going to turn.
Here we go. The Deadeye is live, looking for the Mercy, not able to capitalize. Never mind, going to take out Slendax, but a res is going to be coming in. Unless the Wrecking Ball stops it, unable to do so, that barrage is definitely still an option right now. But see how this works. A lot of ultimates online. The rally is going to be coming out. A little bit of a self-destruct in the back line to get some zoning space. Bugha going to be sent into the afterlife there, but not before taking out the mech of a Purish. Now Luckstar going to be just finishing that one up. Apples spin to win, baby, especially with a lot of mines in front of you. With Wrecking Ball on Wrecking Ball violence here, but one of them is going to come out on top. And just like that, Angelis should be able to flip the point around. Apples still on the point, but never mind. The reinforcements are coming in. And Frosttails are right back into this. Apples, barely surviving, is able to escape thanks to the Diva's defense matrix.
I do want to point this out, and I feel this was a big factor of what lost this for the side of Prestige. When Gara hit the res, nobody went to peel. Gara fell off the map, and they didn't have the Mercy. So there's no damage boost, there's no extra healing, there was no Valk for that fight. They could have won that, but they did not have the resources nor the team to be able to come back in. So while they're moving out, they got to get something off this barrage, but you're walking into your enemy zone.
Oh, the barrage is massive. Well, it only does take down Killa, but you know what? Rockets will do just fine for reviews. And just like that, it's going to be a little bit of a clean sweep thanks to Slendax really just opening up that team fight. And they should be able to finally flip the point, but Frosttails already got 96%. This is not looking too good for them, user.
Well, still relatively costly when it came down to resources. Not only was that a, barrage that went into it, but that was basically everybody making sure that Splendex could land it. Losing out to Apples is going to be a big issue. They are not a full team, and, well, as you see, the Pharah is already having to back up. The Pharah is having to kind of give a bit of space, and that's a dangerous game when Killa is, sitting there freely now taking the angles.
Yeah, but it looks like a majority of the Angelis team is here. They are going to be able to engage off of it. Valk is
Oh,
live. It's a little bit of a bomb tossed into the back. Able to get the D-Mech onto Booga. And yeah, Prestige are just going to capitalize on this advantage. They're just going to run through the rest of them. And this is going to be a full reset coming in from Frosttails yet again.
I mean, that was still a relative dry fight. I mean, possibly just a very smart tactical high noon stops them from coming in. You really want that ultimate solely to try and take out the Fire Mercy, but honestly, with what you're coming in, there's not a big problem because you hit a pulse bomb, and that's relatively unresable.
Ooh, from downtown, Luckstar just kind of tosses
Not
it over the
again.
edge. And the Mercy gonna take a nice little drink. Transcendence is forced out from Frosttails. Just gonna try and capitalize on this. They don't want to lose any of their members just quite yet. Luckstar trying to go for the 1v1 Tracer duel. Not giving it after all, but is taken down. Wex coming out on top of that one. Meanwhile, Kill in the background. Gonna shut that frog down. Watch out. Wrecking Ball is gonna be hopping in here, but Apples gets taken down as well. Kill has been an absolute menace on this Cassidy, just finding all the value off of this Peacemaker. The Pharah is back into play, and so is the Tracer. Have to be a little bit careful about this. The Pulse Bomb gets tossed in, not finding any value at all. Kill is still holding this one down, applying so much pressure. And yeah, Luckstar gets the D-Mech onto Purish, finishes that off as well. And this should be round number 1 going to Frosttails here. And just like that, they made it look clean.
I mean, if you're kind of paying attention, we got to see a lot of Killua's like POV, and I really want to bring attention to it because Killua is taking information. Killua's looking around, scouting, trying to see whatever possible is happening, and that's what Prestige necessarily aren't doing. I think it's kind of given the fact that Gara has fallen off the map twice during the fight or during a very crucial moment of that point. They're not really paying attention. That pulse bomb should not be landing onto the far. You need to be scouting, especially when you're on a wrecking ball composition. If you are not taking the time to see where your opponents are going, well, then you're setting yourself up for the failure. Now, when it comes to this fight, they're going to have a better outcome, especially with the Pharah, but they still need to have some caution, and they need to kind of control the tempo.
Yeah, and look at this. The composition coming out from Frosttails is a lot more brawly this time around. They are sticking with that Tracer, though. But still, a lot of good positioning. They're actually doing a little bit of a team swap. Frosttails getting really deep into the spawn of Angelis. But yeah, Slendex still back onto this Pharah. You can tell that Slendex, this might be a little bit of a comfort pick, but getting so much value on this Pharah has been pretty key. You just have to watch out for Killa.
You also just get a lot of space. Frosttails, who are they going to go after? You have to walk on that point to try and, contest it. But Prestige, they have Apples. They have everybody who can just kind of take the space and sit fine while Splendex is looking to get the damage. The bigger issue comes in the fact that the D.Va goes too far in. They lose that point. And honestly, for a composition that should be able to win this out, they are forced to retreat.
Yeah, and look at this. Picks are coming through. Frosttails have the numbers advantage. Luckstar did go down, but this is going to be the first gap coming in from Frosttails. So Angeli sent back to spawn yet again. They're going to have to regroup before they re-engage here. But yeah, this Pharah right now is a little bit of an annoyance for Frosttails, especially since they've got that Reinhardt tank.
The Frosttails are wanting, as you're seeing, just to find these early picks. Getting one on pack is absolutely vital to this fight. Look at that. They build up the high noon so quick.
Wow. Doesn't even get it, but it doesn't matter. It's an absolutely massive flash grenade there. Nice little flick of the wrist in order to get a headshot off onto that Tracer. And just like that, Frosttails, dominance is being asserted. Already got almost 50%.
Prestige are struggling to control this pace, and I think that's more of a given on the fact that Apples hasn't been necessarily getting the engagement that they've been looking for. They're finally getting a chance to set up, but they're not really looking around. You've got to check your corners.
And that's got to be a little bit painful. Without Pack, a lot of healing is going to get taken down here. Wex trying to even that one out, not able to find the stick onto anything. And yeah, the swap onto the Echo comes in from Slendex, but it might be a little bit too late here. Not able to build up any ultimates anytime soon. This is just an absolute brawl. Honestly, in the front part of this map, Babuga finds 2, and just like that, Angeli's back to the drawing board yet again. They can't even leave their spawn area.
Frosttails are just keeping this up. They know that their composition is going to rely on these close quarter combat, and while they don't want to be feeding, they are going to at least put in that pressure. But when they lose one, they're going to respect what their opponents are going to back up, and they're going to take a second. But they still have the sound barrier and the high noon as aggressive ults to engage.
And here we go. Killa looking for something. Even if it's just a zoning one, works out perfectly fine. It's going to be just that. The team was split in half, but nobody can even touch the point. Just like that, it's going to be map number 1, Frost Tails, winning it out over Angelis.
Ooh, that is it's gotta feel defeating at least because you couldn't touch that point. And I feel that's always going to be worse than like the kind of 100 and 0. If you could at least touch the point, then you know, like, oh, we've been fighting it, but they did somewhat get spawn camped, and that's mostly given to the fact that Frosttails are confident as a team, but more than anything, they're playing their compositions to their maximum. When they're on the wrecking ball, they're looking around, they're checking angles, they're making sure that, if that tracer is looking to flank, that they are already scouted. If not, Killa is still taking the precautions to be prepared, and that's absolutely essential. I mean, if we look at how often Gara was dying because Gara maybe wasn't checking their corner, wasn't calling out to the team to be able to come back, help, I'm literally falling off the map and we need to have me just to be able to fly and heal around. If you're alive for even a second more, that's a second more of healing. That's a second longer of a damage boost. And it gives your team a lot more resources to be able to survive in these fights. Prestige are kind of just not fully awake. It feels like as a nice way of putting it. Well, Frosttails, I think it's a given why they won that. Why we're looking at the fact that they won that lane before. They trust each other. They're making sure that they're scouting around, and more than anything, they're enabling each other. I mean, did you see every time they went for a high noon, we saw a DM, we saw a shield, we saw a speed boost, we saw healing. If they went for another, if we went for that bomb, we saw the rest of the team making sure that Baby Diva was safe to be able to come back in. And if they weren't as a full team, they backed up. They know what their win conditions are.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, too, I wonder how much of that second round was just based on the fact that Angelis still wanted to roll out with this wrecking ball composition. We definitely saw that Slendex was very comfortable on heroes that are up in the air and just flying around, went from the Pharah, was able to get a lot of value on that first point, but not so much on the second point, swapping over to the Echo afterwards. And yeah, like you said, Gara sticking on that Mercy in order to enable those flying characters is a pretty good strategy. I mean, hey, there's a reason why Pharah Mercy is a whole thing in itself. But I do think that that kind of disabled them because, especially to playing this wrecking ball composition, you need to make sure that you're kind of going really, really, really fast. And despite the fact that Frosttails, they're playing a little bit more of a brawly style, I really want to highlight Keela because Keela on the Cassidy was landing all the shots necessary. And especially too, high noon, you can make all the jokes about it that you want. Ooh, zoning ultimate. Oh, it's a faster reload for Cassidy. But at the end of the day, if you have flying heroes, that high noon is so effective at just immediately shutting down all the value that they can have. If they dare fly up into the air, they're coming right back down. And so you force them to hide and force that positioning that just enables the rest of your brawl style composition to just run over the rest of the team. Oh, it appears we are having a little bit of an audio
Oh,
issue here. There you
no.
go. User, you're back. I saw the mouth moving, couldn't hear the words. I was a little concerned for a second.
Intel sometimes accidentally mutes his mic, but that's just a given because I'm an NA caster. NA mistakes. Regardless, uh, you're absolutely right when it goes down to the high noon. Honestly, if you're looking for the high noon to be able to only take out the far, then you're not always going to be getting the maximum value. As an ultimate, you're always going to be able to look around. You're going to be able to control the pace. And yes, it reloads much quicker. I mean, at this level, that high noon could be held, but gain time. That's all that matters, and you saw what it did. There was no time to touch that point. They were able to gain the control, and the rest of the team are also kind of high nooning, in their own abilities, in a sense of terminology. If you're looking at how the Zenyatta's also making sure to put pressure, so many angles were being taken. Rather, so much damage was kind of just being sprawled out, specifically stopping that far from being able to comfortably come in. So when we go on to our next map, and that being Havana, where you have a lot more natural cover, besides from that first point where, the full hold spawn camp is very confident, a lot of teams very much feel happy on this. It can be very worrying, but I feel Prestige, they have more viability when it goes down to that wrecking ball composition, especially if you want to say for the long term of second point and third point.
Absolutely. But of course, because this is Havana, you know what I'm hoping for? I'm hoping for a little bit of a spawn camp. All right, I know people have some thoughts on the spawn camp specifically on this map, but I genuinely think that it's good because it forces out yet another fight that allowing the defending team to kind of take a little bit more better positioning. Could be a little bit of a risky gamble here, but it could also force your team, the opponent team, to match the composition specifically on the brawl. It's very common that we do see that brawl come in on this spawn camp, and it actually looks like Angelis are going to be preparing for that. We do have a little bit of a swap coming for that team. Pack is coming out, Teemo coming in. And just like that, we've got Slendex potentially on this Doomfist as well. So to me, this screams that they're going to be going for very fast engages off of Gara using that Lucio's speed boost. And, they're going to be just going head to head. The Reaper Man from Luckstar, though, is going to be very scary.
I'm glad Prestige aren't working on the Wrecking Ball, but I really wish that they did. I mean, as you're seeing right now, they weren't as a full team. They didn't have a second to scout, and they're just being ran over. Their competition is not going to be necessarily played in this type of format. It's basically pure rush. They may have the wall, but honestly, this is going to be up to preparation if they want to kind of keep it.
Ooh, Luckstar gets scouted out and immediately taken down. Good teamwork coming through, but yeah, Prestige completely swapping over to this standard brawl comp, and now they're looking to get a couple of frags onto this point. They're already doing a pretty good job of pushing everybody back. Bugha's going to be taken out of mech, and just like that, Wex is going to finish that one up. Teemo stops the charge as well, looking for the kill onto Crocs, is able to find that, and right now it's just Wex lighting people up with the Peacemaker, Cassidy being the Cowboy. There's only room for one of them on this first point. And just like that, Angelis are able to break out of it. But they're going to be forced onto this brawl-style composition, already halfway to half these ultimates, and only rising from there.
I said that, Frost Tales were a team who haven't really changed up the roster, but I kind of forgot to point out that Prestige and Angelis are somewhat similar. I remember them playing in Overwatch EX over at ELO Hell, so they've had synergy. That wall's nice, but they still need to be careful from the high noon. That wall.
Man, that was honestly such a good read, just completely shutting down the high noon. Meanwhile, it's going to be a little bit of a window up on top, and everybody's just going to be raining down healing and a little bit of damage. Wex responding with a high noon of their own, but Crocs is just completely cracked open the rest of Angelis, and yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Wex just trying to find some exit kills. Never mind, they might be able to pull this one back. Oh, not looking winnable after all. And that's going to be Frost Tales kind of stabilizing. They did lose a couple of members there, but after a couple of ultimates being traded, it's a fight that they're willing to win.
Angelis needs to kind of just press W a little more. You have a May. You're going to wall people off. You need to take that engagement. You have a Blizzard now. And while Frost Tales may not be a full team, I can tell you right now, that Blizzard can change the fight, especially when you get Bugha time to throw that bomb.
And it's actually going to find a couple there, but the Blizzard comes out from Slendex, and yeah, this is going back and forth. It's a little bit too tough for Frost Tales to survive, not able to live up to their name this time. A Panic Blizzard is all thrown out as well, but Pure Irish and Apples have everybody's number here. Angeli's going to be taking that team fight win. Only a couple of members remaining. They might be able to stall it, but I think that they're actually going to go for this reset. Regardless, Angelis might be able to take this first point. Stall Heroes are going to be coming out here, but I don't know that they will be getting there in time.
To be honest with you, I think that Blizzard could be said that it was necessary. It's always like one of those 50-50 moments where you throw out an ultimate very late into the fight because you're sitting there and you're saying, I can win this. I can bring this back for my team. Please don't peek that. Oh, we hyped up Killa, but it seems that Wex wants a little bit more love as well.
Yeah, uses the high noon, able to catch Killa running away. Or at least running up some stairs. That's going to be good for the Cavs, but still, a lot of damage being plunked in right now. They're both taking the high ground, but look at that. Luckstar gets a nice little icicle into Wex. Off of this Baptista window, the Amplification Matrix doing a great job at just zoning out, honestly, the rest of Angelis. It's going to force out a sound barrier, but that's going to be responded with by a sound barrier of their own. The slam comes in, able to find just one. The Doomfist trying to run away, but it's just absolute chaos. Teemo trying to take Crocs for a ride is going to get crunched between a wall, and this is going to be Frost Tales stabilizing on this point and a reset from Angelis.
I think people are right. EU Reinhardts are something different. That was not only a random shatter that was looking, hoping that their opponents were still in that position, but that was a jumping shatter. I don't like the fact that Teemo is with not a full team. They are wanting to take this fight in that window, but it's not in a prime position. Like, you get sightline, yes, but, I mean, just look at the scenario. You're having to split yourselves. One person's on that point, and Frost still control the tempo.
Oh, a massive self-destruct, able to take Wex out early, and I think this might be the go sign for Frostales to just start moving things through. Look at this, Luckstar already on the flank, looking to wall off the team, potentially just make them a lot more confused. Uh-oh, might have overextended. Thankfully has this ice block and allows the rest of the team to come in for the rest. As long as you've got your Reinhardt, you're going to have an okay time. The Diva's defense matrix does help as well, and this is going to be Frostales chasing Angeli's back, but Angeli's, they're getting a lot of ultimates online for this next fight.
A lot of ultimates is going to be the headache of our career. I mean, mostly because what way do Angelis want to take it? If you're me, I say you go for that bomb combo. Pure Iris has always been able to eat these blizzards, but you really need a moment to end this fight before they even pop it.
And here we go. The Doomfist goes up, looking down. Reviews is able to stay alive inside of the immortality field. Meanwhile, Slidex gets booped all the way downtown, taking a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Killa pops the Deadeye, able to take Luckstar out as well as the D-Mech. That might be just enough for Frostales to win out the rest of this fight here. Looking for the hit onto Teemo, but Teemo doesn't care. Just going to crack the skull of Killa. Teemo absolutely turning it up, taking that aggression forward. And just like that, Angelis are able to stabilize themselves, and they might have a shot at getting this point number 2 before anybody from Frostales can even get back.
I do believe that was an Ajax as well from Frostales. They weren't really in the position. They 100% could have won that if they paid attention to what their opponents were doing and where they were. Now they're coming back in this fight as a full team. Prestige are a bit caught off guard. I mean, they are not together. But look at that!
Cool, such an aggressive Blizzard, but immediately just gets punished. Pure Irish able to take Luckstar's Blizzard, says, nice, I'd go to Dairy Queen, and a self-destruct thrown in just for good measure. But yes, who else but Wex, just cleaning up the rest of the defending members here. Even though they weren't able to cap second point on that one, this will be the second point for Angelis.
What did I tell you? Pure Irish is one of those divas in the EU tier that I think is always reliable when it comes down to shedding these blizzards and ultimates. I mean, as you see, Luxar immediately has to go over to the Reaper because that mace is no longer viable. And I think that Doomfist is going to now start to struggle, feel a little more uncomfortable with these wide angles. But Angelis need to just keep up this point, make Frostales uncomfortable. Oh, not the bomb.
Timing. Oh, survives, and Crocs actually is going to be taken down by there. A little bit of an unfortunate charge. Thought was doing something else, but just gets taken down. And yeah, it's the sound barrier coming out here just to make sure everybody survives. And it's a nice little cleanup for Angelis. I think it might have been a preemptive sound barrier, but they're going to be rolling this cart forwards, user.
Would say preemptive is the best term, but I'm more confused by Frostales at that point. Crocs 100% should have been able to get a charge off, but I guess goes a little early, wasn't able to get a turn, and does not land it. Their missed button placements and their questionable decision makings are now starting to affect them. Yes, they're being able to move out, but they have to try and get value off of this fight, or else they are going to stagger themselves onto third.
And here we go, Killa trying to tie this one up. Does have the Reaper for support. Pure Irish is going to get demeched as Luckstar was able to do that, but too many members get defeated. And yeah, you just walk down there and run into the entire Wrecking Ball squad, and in Prestige, Angelis are going to be moving forwards yet again. They've only got 20 seconds left on the clock. Frostales will have an opportunity to stall here as their members are coming back. Crocs does have this Earth Shatter, looking for a potential spot to use it. Has to be careful though. Teemo holding that shield, but Teemo has also been incredibly aggressive. Goes for the Shatter anyways, doesn't find anything except maybe inspiring fear in the hearts of your enemies. It's going to be an immortality field. That does get forced out here as Wex finds 2. The shield turned around for the self-destruct. Excellent timing coming out. We're going to be seeing the sound barrier come in from Frostales, but it's just absolute domination coming in from Angelis. A little bit of a rough start, but they turn this one around nice and easy, and they will be capping point number 3 in overtime as soon as they deal with some of these respawners coming in. Booga, yeah, you get D-Max. Yeah, you got Killa coming in on the Tracer as well. But they need to continue to remain on this cart. And now Blizzard is throwing in. Wow, okay. Frostales, they're really doing their best to stall things out here, but I don't think that it is enough. Gar has already found 2 kills onto the DPS. And yeah, they're just going to walk that one forwards. In overtime, they're able to cap out point number 3.
I wouldn't call that a snowball, but I would call that a really good momentum pusher from second point. Once they kind of won that last fight, they were able to capture it, stop the people coming back onto the point. Prestige are now feeling a little more confident. You're looking at them using their ultimates extremely aggressively, or just rather, they're putting themselves in the position to get value off of it, while Frostales are not paying attention. It's almost like a little bit of a reverse of what we saw on Oasis. Frost Sales are using their ultimates so far back that they're not really able to get the best value off of it. They're kind of getting themselves split off. They're not being there for the rest of the team. They're being split, and that's a lot of what these fights are turning into, especially when it came down to second point. Originally, Prestige, that's why they lost a few fights. That's why they lost maybe 2 fights, is because they would fall off the bridge. Half of the team in the back line, half of the team in New Mexico. They're getting a pina colada. They're just trying to enjoy their day, and that was a struggle. Now Frostales kind of have to deal with pushing this payload, but against an Angelis who are figuring out and are confident in the way that they want to use their ults. I think they need to start to shut down Pure Irish a lot more. Irish has just been doing a lot when it comes down to eating this damage, and I mean, Killish just not getting what they want or the angles that they want to play.
Absolutely. Pure Irish really just making a case for why maybe that off tank should remain in the game. Regardless, we're getting a little bit of a brawl right in front of the spawn doors yet again. Teemo taking the aggression. I love Teemo's aggression, just swinging this hammer. It's going to get pinged. It's kept alive on artificial life, but finally taken out. And yeah, this is just going to be Frostales flexing. They're mad that they lost that one. They wanted to hold them before it, but despite the fact that Angelis was able to cap out point number 3, they're going to be clapping back right now. A very decisive first fight win for them.
I think when Frostales are being able to push that payload and they're being able to set the condition, like, hey, you have to walk into us, I think that's when they start looking their best. They seem to just really like it when their opponents are very uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, but when their opponents are wanting to push in, when they want to set up that condition. Like, look at that window. It's really good, but it gets walled. Oh,
damn.
No.
Just a little bit of a cast stiff coming in there. Wex able to get the flashbang kill. Not something you see now. Deadeye already activated. It's just going to be able to zone out the team, but gets that split, which is so key here. Oh, just take reviews out of the air. Gets an amplification matrix just tossed in front as well. Not able to stop the charge in Reinhardt, but it's okay because the rest of the team are going to be falling like a pile of dominoes. And Angelis are going to push Frostales right back into their spawn.
When you're able to build up an ultimate in a literal fight, Overwatch 1, that's the key of it. You get an ultimate every fight, you're going to be able to pop it out like that. So I'm not going to be, sitting there judging the window or anything. But look at this. They just go back to the full hold. They're being able to move it. Frostales, stay as a team. Stay as a team. You'll be able to win this out, but you have to be prepared.
Huge isolating Maywall here. Killa uses the high noon just to zone them out here, but just has so much going on. Stops the high noon thanks to a flash grenade. Usually don't see that too often here, but it's a massive shatter coming and dropping at least 3 of the members. It's going to force out a sound barrier as well. This is an absolute brawl. It's a cage match right in front of the spawn doors, despite the fact that Frostales were able to win that first fight. So many ultimates invested here, but Angelis are going to be coming out on top of this team fight.
If I were to bring this into a May fight and what's making the difference, it's got to be Splendex right now. Every wall has just been shutting down the high noon, has been forcing Frostales to split up. They're wanting to be quiet, they want to be careful, but, I mean, can you even pop out this blizzard?
Well, it is going to be coming out here. Self-destruct gets tossed up into the air as well as not able to take out anybody. The Immortality Field keeping people alive, but it might have just been enough for Frostales to gain a bit of momentum. They do have that respawners advantage. They just need to find a couple of picks and then push out with their numbers advantage. Now, Amplification Matrix is dropped down here. It's going to force Angelis to send right backwards, but unfortunately, the May is a little bit caught off guard. You're going to want to make sure to capitalize on that, and Horox is going to be doing just that. Now, Frostales have an opportunity to move things forwards. They have a 6v5 advantage coming into this next fight, but Angelis have already moved back and repositioned themselves. Make sure, hey, Crocs, you got to be careful. Crocs has been going far, and far is not where you want your Reinhardt to be away from the team.
And now, immediately as this fight kind of comes in, I mean, look at the time bank, and Luke goes down, they had the blizzard!
Yeah, and just like that, Killa's going to be falling down as well. Wex absolutely being a difference maker. Can't stop him. Horrocks down as well. This is going to be under Shatter coming in to try and tie things up, but it might be a little bit too late. As just like that. Angelis really just flexing themselves. Frostales can't even find a foot in the door right now.
I mean, Teemo's just they're looking progressively better as this fight goes on. Luke is struggling on this May. The rest of the team is not really enabling it at all. Wex's high noon is not going to be the difference maker. What is if Pure Irish can shut down... Wait, the Shatter?
Oh, and it does find 3. Just like that, Reviews is down. So much healing loss for Frostales. They're having a really hard time. Crocs, regardless, going to be going in here. Sound Barrier is launched. This might get Frostales back into the fight here. The Diva, nice and frozen up as well. Just trying to find as much value as they can. The Doomfist gets isolated, but takes Crocs out on the way. And Pure Irish finds one. Wex with another. Lux start trying their best to keep this one alive. We're in overtime, but it doesn't matter. And Jellies, they're just raining down from above. Reviews is now on this Moira, trying to keep this one alive. But just like that, Prestige and Jellies, they win out map number 2 in a very dominant fashion, flexing just who's better on that rush.
I mean, after Oasis, I said Prestige looks like they weren't awake. This looks like they are awake. They look like they are fully there. And Frostales, funny enough, it looked like they were the ones who were kind of switching the weaknesses and what was going out. Massive props, though, to the DPS line. As much as, like, you want to sit there and be like, oh, the support, Pure Irish was doing absolutely insane. It was the rest of the DPS line that were kind of making those edge cuts. I mean, if we could talk about the last fight, Wex shutting down a high and noon was managing to get those like small picks. It's absolutely incredible when there's not enough flank opportunities or zones. When Prestige are able to kind of look down one sight line and say, that's where I want to go, they just are confident. And I'm honestly at a bit of a loss for words, Mark, because it's 1-1.
Yeah, honestly, this could go either way. Definitely a lot of a better look on that map number 2 for Angelis compared to map number 1. I think that it was them being able to swap. They changed out a couple of players, changed out their main tank, and it seemed like that made quite a bit of a difference, especially with the tempo that they were playing. So we do have map number 3 coming in here. It is going to be King's Row. It's going to be curious to see how this one goes out. This is going to be our hybrid map. So, user, tell us about Kings Row and why every team in the entire world loves it. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure every single Overwatch player likes it as well.
I've never met a person who says King's Row is a bad map. Some people have said it's overrated, but a bad? No. And I think when it goes down to why King's Row is always going to be that popular map, not only was it one of the first in the open beta of Overwatch, so it's, key heart in us, but it's linear. There's not really many issues that you could see with it because everything is going down the same angle. And look at that. You lied to me, though. You lied to me. You said it was going to be King's Row.
I am
My
the
heart
worst.
being
I am
taken
sorry.
out.
I am the worst. Oh, no. It seems
Maybe
like the
there's
rug
a-
has just been
I
pulled
see why
out from under me.
I see why you took your break to go rule over the Valorant community.
I'm rusty. Oh, but we are going to be going to Numbani. And what do you think about Numbani? I think that Numbani is actually a really fun map. Personally, that point number 3, I think, is just such a fun little exercise. But point number 1, a lot of high ground positions, enabling a bunch of different team styles.
If I could say this, everybody, please take a screen cap with the fact that we're going over to Numbani and send it to your friend who thinks Numbani is a terrible map. Because I like Numbani. I think it's a good map for control, as well as there are several sightlines that you need to pay attention to on this first point. Frostales being the ones who had to pick this map, I mean, they have nothing to. Well, they have very little to worry about because this is something they definitely practice, given itself not only to a single die, but if you want to run that Pharah, if you want to play back onto the Wrecking Ball strategy, which Frostales are 100% viable on, I think this is just a little more of a comfortability. I want to pay more attention to how Angelis are going to feel. As you see, Teemo is still in this area as the tank, and I like that. Teemo seems to be confident with the rest of the team, especially when it comes down to the shot calling. The rest of the team always following after, and I trust Pure Irish on that off tank. But my focus is more going to be on how is Splendix going to be doing as that Echo. Echo's a very powerful character, even now without any balance changes. It's going to be more difficult, I think, for Splendix to get insane value, but that's why we had to pay attention to them. Is Frostales going to be able to shut them down, or is Splendix going to be able to play around them? A little bit of here and a little bit of there is what I see.
Yeah, and I'm also a little concerned because this is going to be killing now onto the Ashe, and Ashe honestly is just such a good anti-air hero, especially too when you're hitting your shots like Killa has. Wex kind of flexed the cast diff on that last map, but that shouldn't take away from the fact that Killa can aim. And yeah, we're seeing this double dive composition kind of coming in from both of these teams here. deciding to go with the Winston as their main tank. And now the Echo is going in for the engagement. Sticky bombs are tossed out, but it's going to be pressure being applied from Crocs in their backline that makes them have to peel back. Luckstar able to take Teemo out already. Not a great start if you ask me, but this is going to force Angeli's back to wait for that monkey to come back in so he can come in, jump, and zap.
You know, if anything, the Echo is not in a prime spot. I mean, you're playing with the rest of the team solely because you don't have a Mercy and you can't get the healing.
Ooh.
But you shouldn't be playing with the rest of your team. I mean, Frost Sales, their composition relies on each other, just, you know, cuddling for warmth. And as you see, it works. They find Gara out with the stagger. It's absolutely insane. But Angelis should not and will not be able to win if they continue playing on that lines. Splendex has stickies. If you're on a different angle and you're forcing Killa to have to pay attention to you, I mean, that's why you go with the Mercy. Yes, they have a monkey, they're going to be counter diving, but you may need to go for a bigger risk, especially when you're losing when it comes down to the ult economy early on.
And right now, Reviews has this nano boost online, looking for an opportunity to probably give it to Crocs here. Not able to get the healing just because of that, but now Crocs gets the nano, just hops right in on top of Apple's head. The pure backline dive, and Winston is going to zap indeed.
Oh.
Nothing quite needed. Luckstar for the alley-oop as well, able to take out the rest of them. And yeah, like you said, username Intel, I don't think that necessarily this Echo is working out too well for Angelis.
It's looking on the same sightline that everybody on Frosttails is paying attention to as a character that doesn't really have a pocket and is very linear in its movements. A DPS like Killa is going to be able to pick you off. They do have a copy. They do have a primal. But those ultimates are only going to do so well when you don't have any support ultimates to kind of back it up. Especially because, look at this. They're now setting up. They're taking a little bit of different angles. But it's really only the monkey.
Teemo getting extremely low. Bob going to be invested onto the point. It's going to force out a rally as well. And Jelly's still going in for this engage. Teemo is able to escape and get back to the team as Splendex goes for the duplicate onto a Diva. Defense Matrix so powerful. Now Teemo going in. The self-destruct is going to be tossed into the back line here to get a little bit of value. Maybe zone a couple of people out. Doesn't find anything. Wex, though, is going to find Horrocks. Killa finds Slendex up into the air. It's going to force out the Primal Rage from Crocs. Trying to keep this one alive, but now is asleep on the job. Still trying to swing those monkey arms around, but is getting Winstoned as well. This other monkey is extremely angry, and is going to be winning out. Luckstar able to find the pick on the apples. Is a huge one. Babuka actually eats one up as well. It's still a brawl on this point right now, and I think Frosttails might just be able to stabilize after all, only giving up a single tick to Angelis.
Got a couple of points. Number one, we saw a Diva bomb get thrown twice in the same angle, almost as if, so EU ping is definitely working out here. But Teemo did a fantastic job of being patient with the Primal, and I think in an absolute fantastic way, but the rest of the team did not get kills with it. And now Frosttails have a confident answer to literally anything. It's called a Nano Monkey In.
Yeah, who doesn't love a giant electric monkey flying at your backline? It's pretty painful if you ask me, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Crocs immediately getting stunned up. The entire team has to come back to peel, but a bomb gets tossed in. There's so much pressure being applied. Crocs gets put asleep on the job, and that's actually good. Pure Irish's self-destruct. Able to win that one out. Teemo barely able to just get that mega health back to survive. Is able to actually diff Luckstar, but Luckstar trades it back with a pulse bomb on the way to the grave. Pure Irish, though, getting booped around, trying to continue to take up a bunch of that damage, but we're already into overtime, and Jellies have only gotten a single tick on this point, are trying to make this one work, but Pure Irish is immediately falling low as well. It's the overhead pressure just making too much of a difference. Crocs had to swap onto the Wrecking Ball to make sure that this was still contestable. Are they going to be able to pull it out here? This is going to be the moment. The rally is online as well, making everybody just a little bit more unkillable. Self-destruct thrown out to zone just for a second. Splendex does have this Pulse Bomb online. He's going to toss it into the back line, looking for a little bit of value. The kills are coming through. This could be the moment. They're so close to a second tick already. There's still contesting coming on, though, but it doesn't matter. Angelis are able to find the kills thus far and are going to be able to cap out point number one at the very end of that.
Praise be to Gara, popping out that rally saved them. They didn't have Teemo, so they couldn't really contest, so they paid patient. They built up that ultimate, and then they were able to move in, save themselves from what could have been a full hold. I've told you, these angles have been what is struggling for, is what has caused Prestige to start suffering in the long term, but this map is very linear now, the closer that we get to the third point. So they're going to be having a better time, especially when it comes down to that bomb, especially when it comes down to that nano. I want to be seeing more coming out of Frosttails, being a bit more reactive.
Whoa, apples falling extremely low. Don't want to drop all your apples there before the fight even begins, Timo. Applying a little bit of spacing here, but once again, this nano monkey is just such a problem. Seems like they're starting to be able to deal with it. Bob gets thrown onto the point just to stall things out a little bit as Luckstar actually finds apples in the back. Luckstar's been doing an amazing job with these pulse bombs thus far. Doesn't matter. The team's going to be able to move forwards, and Jelly's continuing to apply that pressure. Timo extremely low in the back line, but Wex swapping over to the Soldier has been putting on constant damage pressure, and Splendex swapping onto the Tracer has done wonders. The Tactical Visor coming in here. Wex does not care, and yeah, look at that. Crocs gets forced out of the bubble as well. A rally coming in order to keep the rest of the team of Frosttails alive here. But it should be actually just enough. They do lose Luckstar, though, so these teams are going blow for blow, but it is going to be Angeli's having to back up a little bit to regroup. They're still applying the pressure here. The rally coming in from Gara as the self-destruct gets tossed up into the air, not able to find anything. The rally is burning down. That was an excellent zone in order to stop the push. Now, their teams are still going at it. This is so chaotic. Horrocks is going to be falling down to the back line. We see the Primal Wage get propped, and there's going to be a bomb on the point of well. How's Killer get a bomb every single fight and a half? This is absolute madness coming on here, but it might just be enough for Frosttails to start to turn this one back around.
Honestly, Prestige hasn't really lost this just yet. I mean, you're seeing that bomb going, but it's the fact that they got the remake and the rest of the team are still there. This team, their supports haven't died, and Frosttails are not playing reactive. They're playing proactive, and you know what that means? Prestige is able to punish them. Look at that! A full fight to which we expected, or at least saw Frosttails starting to bring back. Played patient. They made sure, because Frosttails are doing the same thing every fight. Prox is the one who gets nanoed. They go into the fight. Killa throws a bomb onto the point. Doesn't, you know, it's the same thing. Prestige is now finding a way to kind of break through it. And it's only going to get harder because this is the most linear point.
And here we go. Engagement still coming through as well. A little bit of a swap coming in. Booger now onto this Zarya. I think that the double bubble might be the solution here, as well as the full charge Zarya, just to apply a little bit more frontwards pressure. I really like the DPS swap. Look at this. Crocs going in yet again. Has this nano, trying to just zap everybody down, but is just getting so much crowd control damage thrown onto him as well. Luckstar coming in here to try and help it out, but it is going to be a rally that just makes this so much more harder. Gara just doing so much work on this Brigitte now. And yeah, okay, Prestige, they're able to just tie this one up. Luckstar desperately trying to make this one continue to work. Crocs is able to get the crunch on Gara, but might not be able to escape. Wex is able to take them down. It's still not a fight lost just quite yet. Killa has to back up here, but Wex is actually going to find it. Wex on this Soldier 76 has been doing wonders.
Ooh, it's the fact you're able to kind of get in a consistent amount of damage, and you've got the legs to run. If only we had the thighs to kind of duo it out. That rally's going to be giving them a space. Frosttails, I really want to see them, instead of shutting down that backline, shut down that front line. You take out that monkey, you can win this, but you've got to be careful, and you've got to work as a unit.
And here we go. Now it's going to be a little bit of payback. It's going to be a nano monkey in the back line of Frosttails here. Timo really trying to apply a lot of pressure. Has Splendex to help out, and now it's going to be a grab toss in just to zone things. Luckstar now throws out the pulse bomb, and it's just absolute destruction. This might be it. Frosttails looking like they're going to be able to stabilize this. They have to deal with that Soldier in the back line. Wex has been such a thorn in their side. Meanwhile, Crocs props the Primal Rage, trying to push everybody away from the point, just rezone this cart, because we are in overtime, and the longer that this goes, the faster that wick will burn. They need to find the picks necessary to win this one out, but right now this is such a good showing coming in from the back line, as well as Splendex just diffing Luckstar. Splendex has been running rampant on this Tracer, and they're still getting a little bit of value reviews going in here. Huge anti-nade to get a lot of purple, so close to the nano as well, needs to stay alive, but gets pressured down. The ball Tracer dive is good, and Crocs has to back off here, not able to get the health back. It is not able to escape either. Is this Angeli's taking it all the way to the end?
I am at a loss. Frosttails are not finishing this fight out. They're split. They're not moving in as each other. Well, as a team. And from what came close to a full hold, moved over to all 3 points. And I gotta say, Prestige absolutely earned it. If we're looking at even the small details, the fact that they were able to be poofed off the point by a Primal Monkey and still say, somebody's on point, rotate. All right, who's the next target? They are playing this well. I think in the end, time was very much their biggest weakness because they're not necessarily winning the majority of these fights, but they're winning the most crucial ones. They're winning the ones that are allowing them to push. While Frosttails are struggling to come up with new ideas. They're walking out with the same thing every time, and that's being the biggest problem. I don't think reviews and Horrocks are doing necessarily bad when it comes down to the healing and the sustain, but it's definitely not enough to keep the rest of the team alive when you're very much using your ultimates to try and be a bit more aggressive rather than reactive. You're not saving your team. You're rather using the ultimates to try and end the fight as fast as possible. And when you don't end it as fast as you're hoping to, I mean, Prestige are living up to what is the consequence by immediately bringing it out. Now they're doing something that you did from before. And, well, you know how the competitions work, so you're going to have a chance to break it out. But I'm more curious on what Frosttails may be looking to do. I don't expect that Orisa to genuinely walk out. I'd rather see something else. I wanted to say an analogy, but I didn't want to curse myself because it seems that this is what we're looking at.
Ooh. Yeah, already applying a lot of pressure. Right now, Frosttails could really use a hand from the Master Chief, like you said, needing to finish those fights this time around. Going to be bringing out the Orisa, but this isn't Overwatch 2 Orisa, so still using those shields, still going to be playing around there, and there's going to be a lot of frontal pressure immediately coming in, and look at this, they're going to be continuing to apply this pressure right now, a little bit of a bubble, slowing down their momentum in this kind of a pseudo-rush featuring Orisa. A little bit different, but Teemo looking for an opportunity to pounce. As the rest of the team is up there, adding in a little bit of spray damage, but they have to be careful about this Mei. If the monkey gets frozen up, it's going to be a dead monkey, and that's not a fun day at the zoo, if you ask me. Now going to be going up here, but gets stunned mid-air, and just like that, Buka just coming in, flexing the diva. It's a lot of frontal damage, especially when up close and personal. And it's a very clean first fight coming in from Frosttails. This rush hybrid is kind of working out for them.
I said play reactive, but they just took that and made it a composition. We all know what bunker is, and we know the central idea, but a movable bunker that is punishing anytime that monkey engages in, that's not something that I would have thought off the top of my head, and it's working really well. I mean, no matter what, Angelis are the ones who are going to struggle. That monkey needs everything, especially this nano coming out from Apple. The supports have been what Prestige need, especially because, while Splendix has his moments, you need that support to kind of make sure that it happens continuously. That nano could be the difference maker.
And here we go. Teemo gets frozen up inside of a blizzard. It's just so much crowd control coming in from Frosttails. And now a supercharger coming in as well. And yeah, just like that, they're going to be continuing to march their way forwards here. A little bit of an Ana in the back line. Crocs does not care. Just going to gun that one down. Have to deal with Pesky Tracer. No big deal at all. Frosttails, seems like they heard what you said. And like you said, user, this mobile bunker is a moving forwards.
You're going to be able to shut down that monkey at every point. I think you do one of two things. You either get off the monkey, or and the or is what I would prefer. Do not focus down that Rissa. Go after the backline. This is now a moment where I say, yeah, those supports are absolutely essential to take out. That Rissa's going to be able to survive anything with Fortify. That Bob is also just, oh no.
Yeah, the no-no summed that one up pretty nicely, but it is going to be a rally coming in here, and that's going to allow Frosttails to continue, despite the fact that they lost their main tank. Hey, say goodbye to that Pulse Bomb, says Booga. A self-destruct going to be dropped on point in order to allow for a very fast remech here. Pure Irish gets taken out by Luckstar, and it's going to be this jumping monkey, but look at this, kill it in the backline once again, just plunking in bullets. They want this point number 2, and they want it as quickly as they can get it. And yeah, just like that, Frosttails asserting their dominance once again, say we are not out of this one yet. We are going to be rolling this cart forwards. That's already point number 2. 5 minutes on the clock.
And they are just working out with it. And the moment that Teemo finally says we have to switch, we have to do something to break them, I mean, it's a full composition, that they're having to go out. Their ult economy is absolutely in the trash, but at least they switch at the same time, so it's all the same. Frosttails, though, look at that. They have the nano walking. It did not land on the Reinhardt.
Oh no, it's going to be a nano Mei coming in. Oh boy. Nightmares realized in person. Wex on this backline trying to work it out, but this time Killa does actually have that Reinhardt support, and now this is just going to be holding that W key. The maid just doing so much work. Crocs is able to survive throughout all of it as well, which is incredibly important to add that frontal pressure. Splendex gets sent down into the grave, and now it's just a baby D.Va onto the point. And yeah, the Frosttails really just feeling so powerful and so strong. Wex even swapped to the Widowmaker to try and find an early pick, but not able to find anything. So back onto the Cassidy, but a lot of ultimates online for Frosttails.
Caesar struggling to be able to adapt on the spot.
Oh,
They need
no!
a bit more time. Oh my!
That was absolutely massive, and now there's no heals at all. Make it a frosty day on the cart, and things are moving forwards for Frosttails. Massive time bank. 3 minutes and 46 seconds. They're trying to speed run, and they're kind of making this one work.
They say Overwatch 2. I mean, Overwatch 1 is not fun. You know, they say DPS have no impact. I'm trying to build a narrative here, all right, Marks? You can't ruin the words that the words that I hear in my head. Nobody agrees with what I'm saying. They knows I'm playing something random. But let's talk about how Frosttails adapted when they needed to. And now, Marks, have you ever been, this is basically going to be a tick moment. And we saw Prestige struggled to kind of break through when it came to the Orisa. And I think the biggest part that they need to worry about is the fact that it's the tick. They need to have somebody contesting that point. They're switching up their composition. They may want to try and go for that close. This isn't like Havana. You can't hold the close doors and guaranteed a second fight, as comfortably as you would say beforehand. I think this is a bit more risky. They look like they want to go out with that idea, and I can definitely like it, but they need to pay more attention when it comes down to the supports. The supports on the Frosttail have been just staying alive for a little too long, specifically more of Horrocks, who has been able to use his rally, who's been able to kind of play with the rest of the team, and that's what the Brig's job is to do. Counter the dive. It's what the game is, and Reviews is going on to the Baptiste. That's actually a massive switch right there for the Immortality.
Yeah, absolutely, but it is going to force out the rush composition from Prestige.
Oh, no.
They just want to get up into their face, and I don't think that they were necessarily expecting this. Croc's doing their best to continue to roll things forwards, but doesn't have as mobile a shield. Oh. And Killa just finds the nice little pick, and this is for Angeli's running back to point as quickly as they can. The Orisa pressure is doing enough. It's able to just add on so much. They're going to be going in for the engagement right now. If this is massive, it could be big, but it doesn't matter because Horrocks is keeping the team alive. Buga does fall down here, but there's going to be one person frozen up. Splendex trades it back onto Luckstar, and it's going to force the retreat coming in from Frosttails. They still have 3 minutes on the clock, though, so I'm not too scared just quite yet. This one is definitely still winnable for them.
Yeah, I'm more a bit surprised Frosttails don't attempt to go on top of that high ground. Now they're even going for the switch solely because they feel their composition is not going to work against the Mei. And I can understand that you're too slow to be able to rotate. You're actually deciding to want to go out with the teleporting strategy. I could see this. My jimmies are twisted right now. But the thing they need to worry about is just paying attention to where their opponents are and being able to get this wall off, because that could be what makes them to.
And that's a massive wall just completely shutting down this amplification matrix here as well. So much damage being tossed on here, but it is actually going to be a high noon in the backline from Wex that is going to make this one a lot more possible. The teleport strategy kind of working, but not to a full extent. Wex now trying to just clean up this Symmetra. It's able to do so here. Oh, Reinhardt gets stunned up. Wex able to stay alive off of this one. It's going to be a reset coming in from Frosttails as, again, this might be the full hold.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. The wall was so good, it caused me to be quiet midway through because it denies the window. And realistically speaking, your opponents are now forced to either spend time breaking that wall or throw half of their team on the point while everybody else tries to focus on that wall, and that's what they did. Frosttails should have been able to just run over their opponents, especially Killua, who needs to be with Crocs. Teemo is a Reinhardt. Your beam gets ammo from the shield. You're going to be able to rush down, but you have to play as a unit more than anything.
Well, the teleporter does come up here, but ultimates are being tossed out. Maywall's trying to stall things out just for a second, but already Reviews is down. And this is going to have to be a reset from Frosttails yet again. They can't move in without their Baptiste. There's just not enough healing that Horrocks can do in order to make sure that this squad survives.
At this point, I'm feeling like you got to go out with a sacrificial wall. You throw out a wall, ruin their wall, and then by the time they realize, oh no, it's too late. They are not getting a chance to use their ultimates, and they're going to be coming up on some big ones, but Prestige have answers to literally everything. I mean, if Guard builds up that sound barrier, it's over.
And here we go. Teemo goes in, goes for the shatter. Not able to find anything, but it's okay because the Blizzard is going to be doing more than enough. But Luckstar actually came out on top. Now it's a counter shower coming in from Crocs, and they're all crumbling to the ground. Send them into the dumpster because I think this fight is just about over. A self-destruct done just to try and make this one a little bit more winnable, but it's just going to be a cleanup coming in. And Frosttails, all it took was one single team fight. A miss of a shatter, and just like that, Frosttails are going to be winning it out. They take our series 2-1 now.
Then I tell you that immortality is the difference maker. Yeah. Being able a few seconds faster to throw out, that's what definitely saved them. Frosttails did not engage in with their ultimates. They didn't even have the sim wall, which is also that's how that happened. Regardless, you really want to use like an ultimate early in. Solely because it kind of throws your opponents off. You saw Prestige were able to work well. They almost won that if it wasn't for the immortality, but in the end, they don't get that hold onto Numbani. It was still incredibly close. I debatably would say Prestige had the better end of it. It just seemed that they struggled to adapt and figure out how to play against the Orisa Diva. I can understand it's rare enough that we even scrim Numbani, but to go up against a composition like that, I don't think that's something, even the coaches are prepared for.
No, absolutely not. You could tell as soon as the Orisa came out, they were like, hold on a second. Are they playing double shield? Are they playing bunker? Wait, why is this bunker coming towards us? Uh-oh, what do we do? And it just really allowed Frosttails to kind of take the element of surprise and just move them over there. But yeah, like you said, that immortality field was so key at the end there. I think that was the opportunity for Angelis to just completely shut down Frosttails completely. But unfortunately, all those ultimates invested couldn't pick up a single kill. And it's because the immortality field stayed alive and they were able to heal up their members.
I think it was even worse. We saw them lately split. It wasn't a big split, mind you, but it was big enough to where a few people weren't in a safe place and that shatter could be landed. Even if we say the Reinhardt was there, the Reinhardt may have just been forced to fall down and the supports were still on top. I definitely would have liked to see them start to retreat and be more spacious, but now it's a chance for them to be able to switch over to the map pick. And I mean, for one of the last times that they may be playing on this version of Overwatch, Temple of Anubis is going to be one where it makes a difference. It's going to make that change. We all know Assault. As I love how we always have to bring it up too that Assault is leaving because it's just really funny.
Goodbye, Assaults.
I think that's just us always being like happy, even though I think Assault's not that bad, but I'm not going to be crucified for it. Temple of Anubis.
You said it out loud. You said it out loud. Everyone go chase him on Twitter at username Intel. You can tell him all of your hot takes. Username _Intel, sorry. Just tell him all your hot takes about Assault,
There is nothing more of a hot take than my Twitter account. If you go on, it's a fever dream. But Temple of Anubis of points, I can understand why you go for it. Not like Hanamura, where you have that TP strategy, which can bring some variation and cause a headache. First point's very difficult to hold, and second point, we all know how trolly it can be. And then like Volskaya, I think it's very similar. You gain kind of different angles. You can cause a big panic, but Temple of Anubis, one way. I have specifically said that Prestige have been a very good team when there's just one angle to look at and they're able to shut down their opponents because of it, while Frosttails have been really good if there's been multiple angles and they're causing Prestige to not pay attention to the small or kind of major mistakes that have been happening. So when I see this map come out, I do think that double shield may be what we're looking at, but more than anything, I feel that we should be expecting the Wrecking Ball composition. I think it's definitely a lot stronger and has a better case, especially going into second point for the side of Prestige if they really want to continue pushing out. I didn't get to see that second because the pulse was so quick if Teemo is still in the lineup. But if they are, then you still have the answer. You want to go that double shield. Regardless, I think Prestige have a good answer to what they want to run. This is going to be a fight of time bank, in my opinion.
Yeah. Especially on a map like Anubis. Now, we are going to be loading in once again. Had a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a tech issue, but hey, going to get those things out of the way before the map even begins so you don't lose those ultimates, or ult percentages, I should say. So let's see what composition's coming in here. You predicted a double shield, but actually double something else. It could be that double bubble. Crocs back onto the monkey yet again. I wonder if this is just Frosttails not feeling too comfortable playing that double shield composition and playing that long range. We've always seen Luckstar play heroes that you typically see get up close and personal, and especially on these dives or rushes. That seems to be what Frosttails' bread and butter is.
I gotta say, double bubble on defense, I'm not against it, but this does it does bring into question how they really want to hold this. It could be a big problem, especially when it goes down to the resource. Look at that. Even Prestige, they're deciding they want to switch. I'm questioning why you would even like want to shield. I don't really expect the Widow to be there, but that's just me being a bit more curious. This is going to go down to whose bubble management is worse in this fight, as well as who's peeling in for who. I think Prestige are going to have an easier time for this, but they are still going to have to fight for it.
Big Dynamite getting big damage. He's able to just push him back just for a second here. But yeah, Teemo taking the monkey 1v1. Rest of Angelis is going to be trying to get a little bit of peel, but look at this. It's going to be Crocs coming in as well into the other back line. Really is just the duel of the monkeys, but Teemo starting that primal dominance. And now, this is going to be the move forwards for Prestige here as we see the monkey get so far in, Killek falling extremely low. The rest of the team is moving in, and they want to take that space. The monkey goes up top. Splendex gets taken out by reviews. Not something you want to see, but Teemo's just been doing a really good job at getting Pure Irish a lot of charge. Frosttail's finally coming back now. Luckstar is able to find Wex, and with Teemo asleep on the backline, it's not going to be looking too good. Never mind, Teemo goes crunch. Pure Irish has the alley-oop in order to finish some of those up, but Booga is going to be coming out on top. Luckstar does have this pulse bomb in hand, looking for an opportunity to use it. It's just going to use the dual pistols in order to take Gara down, and Frosttail's hold on to that one. It was looking a little dicey there. Oh no, they lost Killa, but it's okay. This respawn should be fine.
Tails are reacting to what is going on. They do lose one, which is the big problem with 2CP, because now it's going to snowball into that point capture unless Frosttails really want to hard invest into this fight, which I don't think is really going to be worth it.
And here we go. Nano is going to be invested. Crocs going in. Only finds a Zarya. Not the best target here. Is forced to pop the Primal in order to just stay alive. Pushing people back here, but Reviews found Teemo in the back line. And Wex goes for the Mega Health back. Goes up and then just gets finished off here. Crocs using that double jump in order to secure themselves a position back onto the point. A huge purple into the back line here. And Crocs goes in for it. Is able to stay alive somehow and is able to find quite a bit of damage here. And this might be Frosttails winning out this team fight yet again. Teemo is still alive though and is causing such a big problem. Splendex though has been just applying so much pressure, and it's going to be up to Horrocks in order to continue to push them back. The rally was popped just at the end of that fight, but still, Horrocks really needs to step it up in order to disable Splendex from getting as much value as they have, because Splendex has been doing a fantastic job thus far.
I hit you with the I lied type moment as they weren't able to finish out that fight. I mean, Angelis looked like they really didn't want to invest in that fight, while Frosttails were willing to commit, and that seemed to be the big difference maker. Oh, what a hit! Now Frosttails, the grab is what's going to be the big changer, but I mean, it's a split versus split, and Prestige, they're having to be careful.
Yeah, now there's going to be a Graviton Surge being tossed in here. Splendex does find Booga, but the trades are going back and forth. It's going to force out a rally from Gara as well, and I think that was the difference maker here, as they're able to just stay alive. Now Killa on the top ground. I'm going to try and stall this one out, but more or less that should be point number one for Angelis.
That came close. If Booga didn't die by a pulse bomb, and if they actually landed their own pulse bomb, Luxarx built it up, I think missed or something, they would have been able to get that full hold, and Frosttails would have been feeling very confident, but Prestige still have one. I'm sorry, that terrified me. That terrified me. But now they're gonna have a chance to switch up the composition. I like the fact that they're not staying on that double bubble. It could have been a bigger problem if they did, but the Brawl's gonna have an easier time, especially with the walls. Frosttails are not gonna be feeling happy when they realize what's happening.
Yeah, I'll say Luxar immediately just gets sent back, but Gara's been taken down as well, so that's going to disable a lot of speed. Crocs just getting nasty with it alongside Bob, the Robot Butler, coming up supreme yet again. And he talked about how this rush style would be a little bit more favored, but Frosttails say, not today. And they make that double bubble work yet again, and actually have a couple of ultimates online.
Favored and looking good is completely different.
Okay,
I'm gonna tell you, don't try to make me look dumber than I sometimes am. All right, because
you're plenty smart.
My tweets say otherwise. Regardless, the wall is kind of the condition of what we're going to be looking at, especially because, look, you see Crocs move out. If they wall that off and get the freeze, it's hard for the monkey to do anything, but Crocs is fully investing, wanting to make value off of it. Oh, not
That's
that anti,
huge.
though.
Oh, you don't want to be stuck inside of here with a monkey that's just absolutely dominating. It's an electric monkey, and he's swinging his fists, and those fists are going to hurt. And just like that, it's another reset yet again. It's going to force out a couple of changes from Angelis. We see Wex actually moving on to the Reaper. A lot of anti-tank potential coming in from that one. And Crocs better be able to get out of there, is able to do so, and get a little bit of alt charge for reviews.
It's the fact that they're willing to commit, and that's what's kind of working out. The rest of the team are going with it, and they are doing beautifully with it. A hard B. You know, I gotta pronounce it with the lips. Gotta make sure it's extra. Prestige, though, are very uncomfortable. I feel like they're not playing as fast as they necessarily should. I mean, look at that. They're going down the same alley every way.
Oh, no. Wow. Wrong stick target. Not going to work out there. Splendex is able to stay alive. Goes into icicle form. Stay alive here, but now the Reaper is going to be pressuring out Luckstar. Crocs, though, on this top line, just to be going in here, flies into the back, just completely sidestepping that entire amplification matrix, but gets frozen up, and the rest of the team is here for the follow-up. Booga falling extremely low. Horrocks uses the rally in order to keep people alive. It's going to force out a Soundbreaker just to keep people up from the side of Frostales as well. Oh, boy. Is this going to be enough? A Blizzard on point says otherwise. Splendex able to come up with a 2. Winston is back, though, and is going to be able to do a lot. Self-destruct comes in. Booga gets the crunch onto Splendex. You hate to see that one. And Frostales are able to restabilize themselves yet again. They haven't swapped off this double bubble, and they're making it work.
Yeah, honestly, Prestige took that fight far too early, if that's a reasonable way to kind of get that statement. That's solely because they used their ultimate very early on. The rest of the team did not finish that out. This is Juicy P. You either kill the rest of the team or you reset. And they did neither, costing them the time. What did I say? And that anti-lands on guard. At least they're able to watch out, but they need to set themselves up for victory. But Frostales...
Oh, it's a huge shatter coming in to put both tanks onto the ground, but it doesn't matter. Teemo going for a ride, able to get the pin, but gets stunned out of it. This is amazing coordination coming in from Frostales. Yes, I said it, coordination. They're capitalizing on all of the kills. What seemed like absolute chaos was Frostales pushing them into a small area, and that's when Winston thrives. Just like that, Frostales hold Angelis back from capping point number 2. They did give up point number 1, but a win condition is established for this team.
I really just have to stop living up to a paper book, you know, trying to see what everything is going to work because of the composition. It's an unfair assessment because you always have to remember these players do not care about the meta or who's running what. They're running what they're running, and it works. That really is given to the fact that Frostales, they would jump in, beautiful bubble, and then another beautiful bubble by the monkey, able to just save themselves at literally every point. Prestige really didn't know what they wanted to do, and it almost felt like they weren't in the best position to try and peel in for the backline. I feel really bad for not Gara, but more of Apples, who just kept getting picked off and kept getting, bullied.
Shut down.
Bullied.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to say shut down, but I feel like bully is just the absolute better way, because that immortality had to be used to kind of save themselves. Now, why are they running Brawl? Why are they... Listen. I'm
here.
Right, I like Ocean as a caster, but this is where I gotta be Ocean for a minute and kind of sit there and, you know, be like, what the bloody is happening here? Unless your opponents are running the same thing, it's quite questionable. You're not gonna stop that monkey from jumping on with a giant hammer. You don't even have the Brigida. Oh my goodness! Now they're not even taking the map seriously.
Oh boy, no. This is actually a common theme that we consistently see. Reviews is able to get that sleep on a pure Irish, trying to just do the scout. But hey, look at this. They're actually going to swap around, and is that what's going to be a brawl composition? So as much as you said that, user, they're going for the teleport strategy as well.
I am living. I feel like I don't even know Overwatch at this tier anymore. You know, the monkey. I mean, the teleporter was used as a distraction.
And Wex is able to take Killa out right off the bat. Didn't get to put that teleporter to good use. Going to be a reset coming in from Frostales here. Users taking the time to reset the mental in order to figure out what exactly he wants to say regarding this composition. But yeah, a little bit of unconventional Overwatch coming in here. And hey, to be fair, Frostales was able to make that Symmetra work last time. Maybe they can make it work again.
I hate I hate this map right here. I mean, this fight is being taken in. I like the fact that they have the Symmetra. You're going to be able to do a lot of damage, stop Teemo from pushing in. But, I mean, the double bubble, you're just able to take more engagements. You're able to set up and ultimate. I mean, these walls are going to shut you down at every point, and the brawl becomes a longer issue the more it goes on.
Ooh, Teemo goes in for the shatter. He actually gets blocked by the icicle, but Horrocks is going to go down to the standard hammer. But everyone's getting all frozen up in here. It doesn't matter. Frosttails, they're getting rolled over this time around. The Symmetra not bringing enough damage. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty nasty stagger onto Bugha. At least trying to get a little bit. But yeah, just gets taken out. And Frosttails are going to have to reset yet again. Still, though, a couple of ultimates coming in here. I think that last time they won based on, I don't want to necessarily call it a fluke, but it was Angeli's just tossing in all their ultimates in an immortality field, saving them. So I'm not sure that this is necessarily the answer to Angeli's brawl.
I mean, but if there was a monkey, monkey jump, monkey zap, it's just what works. That is a teleporter just to kind of bait them, but it doesn't work. Wait, the May?
Oh boy, High Noon coming in here, booped around, but not able to find any value. Goes right into the shield of Crocs, and now it's going to be a massive shatter. 2-3 people on the ground, and it's going to be a cleanup for Frosttails. This time, this is when the sim comes alive. The turret's going to get you even when you get booped up into the air. That's going to be a very decisive point number 1, and all they need is one more tick to send Prestige Jellies into the lower bracket. Frosttails looking to make their mosey on up into round number 6, just if they can get this tick.
I mean, if I could just say it flat out, I mean, the time bank at least is more favorable of Frosttails. They still have that time, but it seems that when it comes down to the last second, Prestige are not really being able to kind of bring this. Now, this is where I say this is going to be an even fight, especially with the Mace. This is really going to go down to who lands what and how early they are.
Teemo's so aggressive yet again, and this is that aggression we saw in that first map. Bugha is able to find that one out. Luckstar finds Splendex. This is not looking good. A Blizzard in hand for Luckstar as well. They just need a single tick, and it's all going to work out. They got to watch out for this D.Va. They could disable the Blizzard here, but if it gets the DMAC, it could be perfect. And look at that. Wex gets shattered and frozen up in the Blizzard. It's not looking for good for Angelis right now. The kills are coming through for Frosttails. It's going to be a Blizzard on point to try and give a little bit of time. Splendex trying to stay alive, but doesn't realize that there's someone in the back line. Still 2 people were taken down. Self-destruct on the point to zone as well. They're so close to touching it. It's just a little bit of a percentage point away, but still, this is going to be Angelis trying to take this fight, trying to win out this duel. Wex swapping onto the Doomfist is able to push them back. Oh man, it was looking incredibly dicey there just for a second. Ooh. We unfortunately have a pause coming in from this epic battle, if I dare say so myself, as the Frosttails were looking like they were going to close it out just there, but we're just set back.
I mean, Mark, it's CCP. Did you expect them to get the full capture after investing ultimate so early?
I'm not going to lie to you. I believed. I took a nice huff of that copium and was just like, this is going to be it. Frosttails are looking icy. They've got ice in their veins. They're cold-blooded killers. But unfortunately, yeah, this is CCP. Just smug, like you said.
Smug. It's a smug Pepe that we're looking at. I would say yes, using their ultimates very early definitely was a factor in why they weren't able to. I mean, the Blizzard, the Shatter at the same time, those ultimates do practically the same thing, but that Blizzard's going to last longer, so there's no reason why you really want to commit it so early. And eventually the Reinhardt's able to come back, and that starts the timer when you go on very mobile characters like that Doomfist. You're able to just immediately retreat, not retreat, but you're able to come back in, and then boom! You survive, which is what's amazing. Like, Frosttails definitely made a couple of laps in judgment of when they wanted to use their ultimates, but they did a good job at least trying their best to kind of finish that out as fast as they could. Unfortunately, they just weren't prepared. Now, this is one of 2 things. They will be tilted, and this will end up not going in their favor, and I apologize if it is. I understand. It's not drawable, though. So we're either going to map 5 or Frosttails manage to kind of finish this out. But I really want to see more coordination with these ultimates rather than hitting Q for the sake of hitting Q because you feel like you're going to win, unless you know you are going to win. And that means seeing the winning screen on your monitor. You should not be overcommitting or using ultimates on top of each other. It's the same thing of like, oh, do I use a bongo and a window at the same time? You don't. both of those ultimates last for the same amount of time and they don't stack over each other. So if you use it one after the another, what is it, like 7 seconds? You get a whole 14 seconds of nobody peeking you. It's the same thing with Shatter and May Blizzard. If I shattered my opponents, a couple seconds are going to be gone. But then if I use that Blizzard, anybody who's coming in is going to be very frustrated because, well, they're frozen, they can't move, and now they're open to be respawning.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point here. I think there was a little bit of panic coming in. Frostdale's just feeling themselves a little bit too much. The wind was blowing just a little bit too strong in their sails that a little crack was formed. And yeah,
Mhm.
you're completely right. Using those ultimates at the exact same time, while it really just secures that you're going to be able to freeze people up, if there was a little bit of a better opportunity to drop the shatter, I think that would have been a little bit better. I think that there was really good timing on that blizzard coming in there. As soon as the diva flew over top, we saw the blizzard come out because you know that the blizzard can't get eaten. But I think there was a
Mhm.
little bit of miscommunication for Frosttails there. As a result, there's just like, oh, this is my opportunity. Let me throw out the blizzard. But the Reinhardt was already prepped with the shatter, and then it just kind of fell apart from there. So it was looking close, but you know what? Angeli's got forced onto heroes that necessarily aren't the best synergistically put together, but Splendex on the Doomfist once again could be a little bit of a problem for Frostdales to deal with.
I don't really think it matters when you can just kind of hit W. We need synergy when you have aggression. That's the world that I live. And while these players are suffering with a bit of ping issue to try and move it in, I think we're looking at very much which tank is
Mm.
controlling the pace of this fight. I've talked a lot about the tempo and how these teams, but I've never really specifically said who's been controlling it. Each map has been very different. If I went to Numbani, I'd say the DPS controlled how that
Yeah.
worked, and then midway through it swapped over to the supports. If I went to something like Oasis, I would definitely say it was the DPS who handily was controlling how that fight would work, and or the off tanks. But right here, it is Crocs versus Teemo. These two are the ones who are deciding when the rest of the team wants to go in and what they want to do. Meaning that if Crocs is able to shut down Teemo, I confidently think this point will be theirs. But I mean, the longer that Teemo lives, the more they are going to hold. And that time bank only lasts so long.
Here we go. We're getting right back into things. Ping difference has been settled, but Frostdale's taking the back trail, able to get themselves onto point already, getting a little bit of pressure here. An amplification matrix thrown down as well, helps zone things out a little bit, but the Reinhardt's getting bullied, tossed around. Oh boy, Apple's trying to keep everybody alive right now, but the picks are coming through. Both of the DPS are down for Prestige, and now the Shatter coming in is not able to find anything. It's not looking good for Angelis right now. They've only got a couple of members left, and just like that, another Shatter just to clear things out. The Doomfist coming back in, but the Immortality Field is going to keep everybody nice and healthy. A Blizzard tossed in as well. The Blink not fast enough, and Frosttails close it out. 3-1. They heard what you said and cycled their ultimates appropriately, and are going to be winning out this control map.
They played extremely strong. I'm talking about Prestige here. I think they played extremely strong. Unfortunately, Teemo not being in the fight is the same thing as Teemo being dead. As you saw, they were forced to play, well, under the bridge. They didn't have enough healing, and, well, it cost them everything in the end. I mean, to come this far to be put into the loser bracket is nothing to be ashamed of. There are some incredible teams already down there, and now you kind of get to face around, and it's very scary for the side of Prestige. For Frosttails, they've got to be feeling great. They've got to be feeling confident. They're continuing to finish that streak. They won on the land and they won online, so there's no excuses
Yep.
for their team. I think they had some very strong points today, especially when it came down to how they were able to kind of bounce back, even though they got full held, which sometimes can be a momentum killer. That's what I want to see out as a team who could make it into contenders.
Yes, so congratulations to Frostdales. They will be advancing in the bracket. Well, just like you said, Prestige and Jellies, they're going to be going down to the lower bracket. They're not out of things yet, and honestly, this team is showing a lot of signs of life. That was pretty good stuff that we saw from them. But yeah, Frostdales, the masters of clearly the double bubble, and are able to flex around in order to counter their opponents pretty well, in my opinion. So we're going to be throwing to a quick break, but don't worry, we got more Overwatch coming to you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back just after a bit. Welcome back, everybody. It is Open Division. How you doing? This is the EMEA Open Division Path to Pro qualifiers. And once again, this is myself, Marks, casting alongside user Intel. We've got Cynthia on our production and Kothar observing us today. And we just finished off of a pretty exciting match coming in previously. But now we're going to be moving things on. And we've got Team 3400 up against Reality. User, break it down for us.
Well, the English dialect can only pronounce so many letters, and that's why we're gonna be seeing,
Apologies.
as you could tell, our NA knowledge can't translate it. So we're, you know,
We have been
3,000.
told it
It's
does
just
say
gonna,
vagabond-ish,
yeah,
so that's a
well,
little bit of an option, but I think
yeah,
just for simplicity, we'll keep it
yeah,
as
yeah,
3,400.
yeah. So just be prepared. 3,000 is just gonna be 3,000. But very excited. We just got off of a very I would say back and forth type of match, and now we're going to see how both of these teams are going to be working when it comes down to at least today. I am curious. Both Team Reality and 3000 have not necessarily been on my radar. I think they've been one of the more quiet teams. Uh, not only the players, but uh, the people they've gone up against haven't necessarily been big. So being able to see them on the stream is definitely going to be exciting to see who are these teams and what are these players more specifically.
Yeah, and you know what? This is going to be really interesting. Just as a reminder, this is to qualify for contenders. This is open division. And
Hmm.
so I think there's a lot on the line there because, contenders is a way to really showcase your skills and abilities as a team, but also too it gets you Overwatch 2 beta access. And that's always a little bit of a bonus that you want because Overwatch 2, we're all ready for it. We want to see what some of these new
Hmm.
changes are going to be, especially coming off of the previous beta that had just previously ended. So, I think that, like you said, even though these two are two teams that are not as well known as some of the other bigger names in EU, I think that this is a good opportunity for them to showcase their abilities and really show us, we want to keep Team 3400 Vagabond, supposedly, on our radar, as well as Team Reality. This is the chance to really showcase what you've got to the world.
You're absolutely right. Luckily, though, at least when it goes down to maps, I think we may be seeing a bit more. Well, we've definitely got some variety today, so who knows? Maybe we'll get a bit of more of what we're used to. But for first map, we know it's going to go over to Lijiang Tower, and Lijiang Tower has just been one of those points where we always know what's going to happen. Besides from gardens, which teams tend to, it kind of just goes off to what their style is. So if you are aggressive team, you really like that teleport, not teleport, but you like that wrecking ball, you like that monkey. Some teams like the, teleporting Ryan, and then they stay on the point. It really just depends on what you're feeling and where you want to go. But with it being night market more specifically, Marks, I mean, most teams just tend to go with the teleporting Symmetra. We do see the wrecking ball, and I like the wrecking ball strategy. You could already see we're getting a best of both worlds. I think this is going to be the absolute fight to see which team is going to be able to take this series. Why? Because these are two different play styles, and they relatively are counter. You're able to counter each other basically. So if 3,000 can be able to break down Team Reality, I think that we have a good case for a team to win. But if they cannot, I think it's going to be concerning.
Yeah, and let's see how this one plays out. I would like to mention we are in the losers bracket right now, so one of these teams is going to be going home, unfortunately. But the winner actually goes on to face the team that we just saw, Angelis. So playing to potentially continue their life in the tournament just yet. We're already seeing quite a bit of brawl happening on to the point, but the Symmetra strategy, it just gets your team on it just that much quicker. Hanzo already putting in a lot of damage with those storm arrows active, but okay,
Ooh.
nice little pick onto W1LL2. Gonna make that a lot more winnable right now. They're moving in off of that individual pick, but the brawl has been activated. They're running things through. Raging Berry wants the fight to take place right in front of them, swinging that hammer, holding that W key. Ludwig is able to take out that Zarya, but now they're giving up the point here. 2,400 doing a pretty good job of being able to cap it up, and they're able to actually convert it around despite losing a couple. Right now, I love this way that the 3,400 team is playing, just completely split up, but finding the picks.
what they have to do. Though it could have been, debatably cleaner, they still haven't lost this fight. They're able to come back in one or two, as you see. In
Ooh.
reality, have to play as a team, and the fact that they are not as a full unit right now means they're going to lose that point. They did get a bit of a time bank, but this is where 3000 truly begin to shine as a team with this composition. Now I want to be able to pay attention to how they're going to use their ultimates. They're going to be able to rotate. Team Reality are the ones who are going to struggle. They don't have a teleporter, meaning that they're not really able to close the distance. It's really just going to be that amp that is absolutely essential.
Yeah, let's see how this one shakes out. Honestly, right now, you would really expect the Ball Tracer to be getting a lot more value, but it's actually the Hanzo just finding so many picks that has really just sealed the nail on the coffin for Team Reality. We're going to be seeing the rally come in preemptively. A Nano Boost has been given as well, but Astral is just going in, and Astral is going hard. Unfortunately, somebody has been taken off the edge here. Effort really trying to turn this one back around. Pulse Bomb goes up and goes right over the edge. Astral still staying alive, but it looks like Team Reality are going to be winning this one out. The Self-Destruct thrown on the point just for good measure, and this will be the conversion back around. Wrecking Ball not able to stall this one any longer.
It was definitely the hesitance that cost the fight. You saw Astral had the Pulse Bomb. Looked like they really wanted to go for the melee. Unfortunately, they just didn't commit to it, and the rest of the team did not hard, push themselves in. So Team Reality, as a brawl, is able to punish anybody who was like 2 feet closer. And now it's not really looking too good because that High Noon, the Sound Barrier, those are ultimates that you can kind of hold the point with, and that's not what 3000 really want.
Grav in the pocket. Oh, Earthshatter does come in. It finds enough. Okay, Effort really just putting in time, putting in work. And just like that, it's going to be 3,400 sent right back to the spawn doors off of Raging Berry's ultimate, as well as Effort just getting in those planks.
They're able to hold it. Winning off of one ultimate is absolutely important. 3000 are now in the worst position. I mean, you have the Grab Dragon as a winning combo. That's nice, but it's what you're going to do after that. They don't even have the chance to commit.
Oh, and yeah, just the mistiming of that Grab Dragon, unfortunately, just allows Team Reality to stay alive. Despite the fact that they've lost a couple, they've taken this all the way to overtime. And yeah, they're not going to get rid of let go of the point just quite yet. An anti-nade coming in, but not able to find anything. And a zoning, oh no, 3000 couldn't even touch the point. Roblox Lover just goes over the edge, but it's too late. Savage couldn't make anything happen there. That's going to be point number 1 going for Team Reality.
3000 made a lot of mistakes. And I mean, that's a given. It's Overwatch, we're not professionals, we're not all going to be working at the best, but I think they made some very fundamental mistakes when it goes down to this composition. And that is concerning. On a map like this, Gardens, this is at least going to be a bit more. We get to see if they are maybe just waking up. They're needing to play a bit more together. Also, that TP isn't really going to be the best. I mean, you're going to be making it at the same point. However, this is where we need to pay attention. How are they going to be able to break through the point? What's going to happen is 3000 have to break through, but they're going up against turrets. They're going up against so much. Finding a pick on a Lucio, that's a nice start.
Yeah, it looked like for a second a Boop was able to come through, but actually it was just the D.Va. And D.Va's got rockets on her back, so she's able to get back onto the point pretty easily. We're seeing the swap from the Hanzo onto the Soldier. This is actually going to be a good move, but unfortunately Savage gone off the edge. A little bit of a misplay. They're without their main tank here. Oh, that was a deadly icicle. Almost took the Soldier down immediately. Regardless, it's going to be Team Reality just walking forwards now, and they're able to get first cap on the point despite the fact that 3000 had an initial advantage. They're trying to pressure them down. The Rhine Shield extremely low, but this time, the Savage comes up big. An Amplification Matrix, though, already built up, and that's going to just zone people out completely unless 3000 go back for the re-engage, but it's not ideal with the amount of pressure that could come through.
There's a lot of angle.
What?
Oh my, that
Come on. Come on. Hate to see that one happen. And now this is 3000. They're able to capitalize just off of that. Took out the Mei right off the bat, and the rest is history. Astral cleaning up alongside Savage. The Mei is back, but should be pretty quick here. So it's only about 30% for Team Reality. 3000 now going to have an opportunity to get a little bit more as soon as they flip things around.
I'm losing it. It's a boop like that wins you a fight. It's a boop like that wins you a series. It's a boop like that to make me want to cancel this stream right now and just make this and just put on that VOD for the rest of the day, because that was changing. I mean, Team Reality wants to control that point. There's a lot of angles,
Yep.
and that becomes the difficulty of Team Reality. But they're able to just push forward as a unit. Losing someone to a boop, that should not be happening. And now
No.
the fact that you're having to walk through a small angle where Salve is having a mines prepared for you, it's just not looking good. You have to commit. Where do you want to go?
The mines. Oh, and the nano as well. Salve looking for it. It's not going to opt to drop the mines just quite yet, but Astral's in the back line. Does have this pulse bomb online. Sticks to May, but May's easy to just able to escape into the icicle. Doesn't matter. Astral ready for the follow-up as well. And effort! Comes around, gets a little cheeky flash grenade, a headshot on Astral to shut that one down. Amplification Matrix tossed down again. The Diva trying to go in there to stall things out. Effort not able to clean that one up. The mines are now loose as well. What should have been a very easy fight for Team 3000 is forcing out a lot of their ultimates, so not bad for Team Reality, all things considered.
This composition, unless you are actively just throwing your win conditions to the trash, and though I would say throwing a couple more ultimates than necessary would feel like it, you're building it up very quickly, and that's what's always going to be the bright side. Team Reality, though, have to figure out how they want to move in. The sound barrier, I'd say, needs to be used defensively, but it can always change. They have a couple ultimates. What is going to be the answer?
Sound barrier to engage as well. Team Reality just going in here, going for the charge. Rage and Barry ain't able to find anybody, but Blizzard is going to make sure that this one is going to be easy cleanups for Team Reality. They had everything that they need, and now they've got a couple of ultimates online. Roblox Lover also coming close to that Coalescence, and we know how fast Moira can charge. So this is going to be tough, but regardless, 3000 have already gotten it to 99%. They can't lose a single fight. Team Reality kind of on their last legs.
I love the fact that we saw them use 2 ultimates and then the rest of the team builds up. That's what you need to be doing. I was a little more harsh and unrealistic in the way that they needed to commit that sound barrier, but that's just because of the way that 3000 have been playing. 3000 should have a relative easier chance moving in. What they need to be careful of is losing a support early on, because they are running into them.
So it's going to be a tactical visor in the backline. Coalescence also in the backline trying to do something, but a self-destruct is going to zone things out. Doesn't matter. Rage and Barry finding picks in the back. And yeah, this is going to be a back off. Unfortunately, Team 3000 was a little bit more split up, so Team Reality was not able, Team Reality was able to capitalize and collapse in on some of those individual members. And now they're close to tying this up. Raging Berry holding a very close forward, has a shatter online, looking for an opportunity, drops it down, is immediately taken out though. Doesn't matter, literally 8 Astrals pulse bomb. Effort now just trying to hold it down for the underground on this point. The mines are going to be forced out as well. Effort has to get away, is able to survive, stuns up the wrecking ball, but is so low, and yeah, it's going to get followed up here. Uh-oh, this is looking like 3000 might be able to come back. Only a Diva on point, but as soon as that happens, the Reinhardt able to touch. I don't think this is enough though. We got a rallying break coming in here, as well as the entirety of a team. And guess what? This is a team game, so no matter the people trickling in at the end here, trying to keep this one alive, unless they're finding any picks, that overtime wick is just going to burn down. And just like that, Team 3000 should be able to cap the point, but man, Reddit is doing such a good job of just being such a pain in the side of this team. It's one right after the other. They're moving in there. They're stalling, but User, I think this one is all but over.
This is what happened. Oh, ate the Blizzard too. That's nice. That's what happens when you have another big tanky character, and that's why they're getting rid of it. By the way, this isn't like important. Honestly, as a color caster, I really shouldn't be pointing it out because, you know, it was part of the fight. It doesn't really matter anymore. But the pulse bomb landed. It landed on the Mei who used cryo, so the bomb fell off. And then because it was, the DM was out and the bomb fell, it then became eaten, which is something that I'm not used to saying or seeing. Alright, but let's get to here. It's now even. 3000 were able to kind of win out that fight solely because Team Reality did not engage first. They played very close up, so they wanted that idea, but they did not have the confidence to do so. Now this is a similar mirror. I don't like the fact that we're seeing the Zarya because, well, one is going to eat the damage, one is going to try and enable by getting that damage, but if your resources get burnt down really early, then 3000 are just never going to push in. Finding out that Luciana who overcommitted or messed up their speed, you know, that's an answer that can solve this.
Yeah, now Team Reality, you can tell they're just a little bit more sluggish. They are able to take out Salvage here. Able to salvage that one. Think about it like that, but still, Team Reality They're choosing to wait for the Lucio to get back. Lucio walks a lot faster than Reinhardt, and now they're choosing to engage effort. Once again, doing a lot of frontal damage in order to pressure back Team 3000, and it looks like they're able to do just that. Once again, Team Reality get the very first cap, but 3000 are not out of this fight. They're ready to go on a moment's notice.
That Zarya's not going to eat the damage up, as you're seeing.
Raging Berry? Okay. Now it's just going to be the rest of Team Reality. I hate to cut you off there, but it's just an absolute steamroll. Right back to the spawn ship. Yeah, spawn ship counts in this one. And now I imagine we're going to be seeing a little bit of a forward hold coming in from Team Reality.
I mean, it's no sweat. It's a problem. Zarya is just not as good as the D.Va in this scenario. Look at that. That's a high noon. You all have to just back up, wait your time, you know, cross your fingers.
Oh, no.
Poor soul is still gonna fall.
Oh, and it's a huge isolating Maywall. The Reinhardt couldn't find anything. But the high noon comes out in response and is able to take out Raging Berry. Still though, W1, LL2, try to keep it alive. Doesn't matter. The rest of the 3000 are going to be moseying their way onto this point and are finally going to be able to flip it back after Team Reality get a nice little 50%.
High Noon Crab saves that fight. Astro should be proud. Raging Berry lands a nice shatter. Could have actually continued to aggress with it if they were alive for a second longer, but that's where Team Reality just need to be a bit more careful with the way that they're wanting to commit their abilities. They are very much kind of playing very fast, but a little too fast for themselves. This grab could be absolutely massive, but they lost a Rhine!
Oh boy, and the Blizzard is coming out as well. The grab comes out in order to try and tie things up. The Dragon to follow. Let's see if it can get anything. No, the Immortality Field actually doing a really good job of keeping everybody alive. Ludwig loses their life, but that's okay for Team Reality because they will be able to convert the point back around. It's very commanding so far by Team Reality. Looks like that Lucio is finally getting a little bit more value, but still, this is looking pretty tough for Team 3000 to break out of this hole.
I can hear them now. They're upset. They're like, why is immortality an ability in the game? And I relate. They would have been able to win that in a different scenario, but unfortunately, they just were a bit caught off guard. Liking what they're doing. They're switching up the rotation. Doing the same thing over and over again is never going to work for long periods of amount of time, but they need to be careful. That shatter, I mean, you're having to go up against a bomb.
Oh! Salvage loses their life. The sound barrier is going to come out just to try and keep everybody healthy, but it's burning time, and Team Reality know that. They easily just back out of it and wait for that sound barrier to disappear before they choose to re-engage again. So though they did just lose Roblox Lover, and that just means that there's not going to be a lot of healing coming in. The back piece, very key to keeping everybody nice and healthy. Sound barrier going to now come out for Reality in order to make sure that this works. Salvage is going to go for a ride, and Raging Berry is coming out on top. Trying to flex a little bit of a Rhine difference, if you ask me. Still has this Earth Shatter in hand if necessary, but is just shielding the high noon from effort. Doesn't matter. Astro comes from behind and gives him a little spinal tap, and that's going to be enough there. Astro just decides to go absolutely beast mode and is trying to really turn this one around. Might have the opportunity to do so. A dragon is going to be thrown onto the site, and it looks like 3000 will be able to flip this point around. Roblox Lover falling down, and yeah, the rest of the team are going to crumble. So 3000 are able to secure the point, but they have to play this perfectly now.
Playing it perfectly is so difficult. You're putting a lot of stress on these players, and I think we should add a little bit more when we talk about the fact that Team Reality are winning out these team fights. It's just kind of going down to the last few that are mattering, and well, Team Reality seem to be a little bit of a troll, not positioning themselves, at least in an advantageous scenario. This grab could be massive, but what the big point is that Blizzard, if Will can land this in the middle of them, they can't stop it. What are they going to do to answer against it is the question.
And the grab came out, but unable to find any kills. And now the Blizzard is coming out, and it's going to freeze up that Reinhardt. Salvage looking like a nice little target. Is immediately taken out of this fight. Still an Earth Shatter in Raging Berry's hand, looking for an opportunity to use it. A good isolating Maywall, and as soon as the shield comes up, it's going to be the grab to finish it up. And just like that, it's looking like Team Reality are going to be able to win this one out. The rest of 3000 nowhere to be found. It's going to be map number 1 going to Team Reality, but that was close.
You would say close. I would say uncomfortably 6 feet together. It's like being back in prom where you're not allowed to dance close to each other, so you have to stay a reasonably arm's distance away from each other. You got, you know, the boys in one corner, the girls in one corner, and the non-conforming in a different in a different angle. But I think Team Reality really looked strong. They looked a lot stronger continuously. They did play the same composition. Yes, I'll give you that. But 3000 playing onto that Wrecking Ball and then going on to the Reinhardt did not look consistent, and that's the issue. I will give them the benefit of the doubt as that is control, and as we saw from the last game, that's what can make the difference in for these fights, especially. But Team Reality are committing as a unit, and they are managing to get away by walking on their opponents. Which, as a Wrecking Ball competition, that your entire job is just to be able to stop that from happening. Not literally, but it is a prime idea. I think
Yep.
as we move forward, that's something that they definitely want to try and avoid to do. That's why, as our next map pick, we're going to go over to Watchpoint Gibraltar, I do believe, which is a good map to try and stop your opponent from walking on. It's just divey dive.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the way that 3000 play things, you can tell that they're a little bit more comfortable splitting themselves up.
Hmm.
Just trying to take these 1v1 duels. Obviously, Astral's back is probably hurting after deadlifting the team back into it to make it contestable because Astral has just been absolutely popping off on that Tracer. But still, it's going to take the rest of the team in order to also pop off as well if they want to turn this against Team Reality. Team Reality look like a cohesive unit. They're an absolute unit, just kind of moving in together. And when they are together, that's when they really shine. You can tell based on their compositions, that's how they want to be playing the game, and it's working out for them. And you know what? I'm glad that you said our next map because I was worried that I was going to say it, and then we're going to have a little bit of an illusion. Oh,
Yeah.
pulled out from under your feet, but you took the bullet. So tell us about Watchpoint Gibraltar, assuming that that is going to be our next map.
If there's anything I'm willing to do for you, Marks, it is always going to be take that bullet. All right, I'd catch that grenade for you.
Thank you.
Um,
You're
but
reliable.
yeah, but let's say Watchpoint Gibraltar, 100% is what we're going on, and the players aren't going to be messing with it.
Yeah.
Watchpoint Gibraltar always been known for that dive, but a little less of what it's been known for, and that I think should be known for is the DPS showcasing. DPS are a very vital role. They're the flashiest role. They're the role we're always paying attention to. If you're not seeing 6 kills in the feed, you're always saying, what are the DPS doing? They don't have Goldie limbs. That's what the plat players are questioning. But the reason why I bring that up is because Ash, Tracer, Soldier, Cassidy, Torbjorn, Widowmaker are all characters that we consistently see on a map like this. And I think those are maybe less of Torbjorn, debatably so. You can fight me on that. A character that can make a very vital change into these fights, and that's what's going to be very important. I highly suspect seeing Dive versus the Double Bubble and or something similar, but I really want to see the monkey. I saw Reinhardt
Yeah.
on Temple of Anubis defense, and that has shattered my expectations. But a map like this can very much end up going from, hey, we almost got a full hold, to an absolute snowball. The third point, though, similar to like Nambani, if I wanted to give it like a similarity point, can be where that payload stops.
And you talk about having the Winston come in here for that dive. But yeah, Team 3000, they're teasing us right now. I actually think that the Wrecking Ball might work out for 3000 a little bit better. We did see salvage on that one for point number 1 on our last map. And especially given how Astral plays that Tracer, I think that there's a lot of chance that we can see that salvage go in there, boot people up, Astral with the Yali-oop, and then of course having Samsara place down those Discord orbs is just going to make their life a lot easier. I love this composition coming out from them when it is played well. I think this is still a little bit of a gamble, considering that they won't have any peel for whichever character gets dove on by that Winston. And so I think that this is going to be a little bit more interesting, but here we go.
I mean, you're right. The biggest thing you want to really worry about is going to be that Echo. I will say, though, that's the reason why you go with the Brigida. Honestly, the Zenyatta is relatively safe. Team Reality don't want to commit on top. Their competition feels more of just, play patient, look for the counter dive, look to see who's vulnerable more than anything. That Brigida can just save you from absolutely everything. So Team Reality, they just get to play carefully. They get to play safe. I'm more interested at how Salve wants to try and take these fights. I think it's actually harder for the Wrecking Ball to do much. But finding out the brig should not be the first thing that I see.
No, and that's going to be really tough now because the dive is just going to be so much easier. And we see that coordination coming through between Astral and Salvage already. Savage is going in, but Astral is just taking them all away. The Ana can't even get out of here. Roblox Lover not even getting out of the servers at all. Still stuck in the mainframes. And just like that, it's going to be a very decisive first team battle for Team 3400 thus far.
They just punish Team Reality for going a little ape, as I'd like to say. That very much was their own problem, but there is still a recontest that is here, and I like it personally. I think that's a very possible to be able to hold it, especially when you eat that bomb.
And now we got Raging Barry. He's feeling mad, he's feeling angry, and he's got that nano. He's going in right into the back line. We're going to be playing a little bit of Minesweeper first, as Salvage actually found a 2K with a little bit of a slam. And now this is going to be the D.Va just cleaning things up, and that's a very decisive first point. I think I know why this map was picked, user.
I do too. They look really good on the Wrecking Ball composition, or at least the DPS look really good at finding these picks. They found the Brigida, they are managed to get these early staggers, and it's working out to such fantastic degrees to where, look at this, you see them continuing to hold these close angles, and Team Reality don't know what they want to do. They even decide to go over to the Sombra to try to shut this down, but the problem is that the Wrecking Ball composition, I mean, you can play without Sal, you cannot play without your Sombra.
Yeah, and right now they've got the high ground, literally trying to just put pressure onto it, but not able to force anybody off of this top position. The Soldier 76, once again, just doing so much consistent damage, and it's not even Overwatch 2. Raging Barry gonna send back to spawn, and yeah, the team is just having a hard time leaving, navigating around anything because there's just so much pressure being applied, and so many ultimates right now for Team 3000. A rally is gonna be forced out from Team Reality just to leave the room, but it's gonna be met with the Tactical Visor. And just like that, it's going to be more or less nullified. The two supports cut off from the rest of the team. And that's already point number 2, user. 3000 are taking this one by storm.
They are not slowing down. I mean, this is becoming a snowball momentum based game at this point. I mean, Team Reality are having difficulties. They're not really being able to ult. I think this is a bigger problem, the fact that they are, the way that they're playing with this Sombra. I really think you kind of want to go over to that 6-man style, if not, if you know, the shadow dive, as some people tend to call it. This EMP could be massive, but it's about later on. You really need to get full commitment from it.
Oh boy, that's a 5-man EMP. Raging Barry on the finish as well. Might as well switch his job into a janitor with how much sweeping up that was. And just like that, it's going to be a hold from Team Reality. The first one, I think, on this map thus far. But yeah, Team 3000 have more than enough time to recontest this. There's still 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. And now Team Reality do have a couple of ultimates to work with in this next team fight.
They're going to be feeling a lot stronger. I'll give you that much. Even though 3000 have what you could say is a lot of ultimates in the English dictionary, I think Team Reality have at least a good way to kind of slow this down. The biggest thing that they want to worry about is not that Transcendence, it's going to be those mines. It's not the team from committing into this.
Oh, rally is going to be popped from Team 3000. They want to take this level of aggression to self-destruct in the back, takes the May out, but it is going to force out the Primal from Raging Barry. Try not to get caught up in the mines of self-destruct just to zone things out as well. And still, right now, I think the name of the game is just slowing down this momentum. A lot of ultimates were forced out there, and unfortunately, Raging Barry loses their life in the mines. Not able to escape out of them. Thought they were good. Attack Visor as well. Samsara just applying so much pressure. You love to see this backline just frag out as much as they are. And yeah, look at this. The DPS diff really coming alive for Team 3000. This is going to be it. One more hold potentially for Team Reality.
Oh, this is stressful. They decide they want to switch over. I like going over to the Reinhardt. It's a lot stronger on this point, but your team is being caught so off guard.
The mana was invested, though. Raging Barry just watching forwards, is able to take a couple of picks. The D.Va's taking out a mech here, but this is going to be met with a rally, and look at this. Savage is just running around, salvaging this fight left and right. No one can stop this Wrecking Ball menace, and the rest of the team is ready to just follow up on top of it. It's going to be a Blizzard coming in here, but look at this. The Soldier just up top, blinking in damage. 2 minutes and 53 seconds on the clock. What an absolute domination coming out from Team 3000.
I feel like Team Reality don't really like die, if that's a good way to put it. They look uncomfortable the way they're wanting to fight this. They're going with the brawl. They're going with these compositions that want to play close up, but 3000 are managing to split up, and it's not like Lijiang Tower where you can just necessarily walk on your opponents. There's enough angles and there's enough cover to where they're going to be feeling safe and they're going to be able to break it down. And that's not what you really want from Team Reality. Now you not only have to beat a time pick of 253, but you have to cap all 3 points after you somewhat got snowballed, which can be stressful. I think when it goes down to this, you just want to take a step back. I'm liking this idea of going back to the traditional dive composition solely because it's what it does best, running on your opponent, but you really need to prioritize those DPS. I told you, the characters that make a change. Did I not show you my fingers? All right, I showed 6 of them. Soldier and Tracer do absolute work.
Yeah, 100%. And I love the way that they're playing them too. We see the Tracer moving in with Salvage just to make sure that they're able to capitalize on all of those dives, but the Soldier just standing back is able to plink damage in. When people are looking around at this Wrecking Ball flying in their face, that's going to allow the 76 to just find so much value. And now we're seeing that dive come in yet again. Will back onto the Tracer though. Effort is on the Sombra this time around, potentially just to stop this Wrecking Ball. Team Reality haven't quite found the answer yet, but they're looking and seeing whether or not this one will stick against the wall. Let's see how this one turns out.
Oh, there comes it. Yeah, honestly, anybody that walks out of the spawn room is liable to instantly get murdered. That is not an understatement with the way that they are set up. I understand why Team Reality are on this Sombra, but I really think that shutting down the Wrecking Ball is the problem. It's the fact that as a team, they're not able to kind of move together and get to the same place that they want to be. And that's what's causing them to lose this in every sense of the fight. As much as they really want to try to get this hack, then push out, I want to see them more rotate, bring it in as a team. Maybe just shut everybody down. The Sombra has to play with you, though.
Yeah, and Salvage is already up to the mines. He's going to be dropping them in the backline, forcing Team Reality's hand. Regardless, though, they're able to pick up the supports of Team 3000. This is looking like an all-right situation for Team Reality. Now they're just trying to collapse onto Salvage. Should be able to pick up the kill. Never mind, escapes, but Astral is going to be taken down. And finally, Team Reality are able to break out of that chokehold and get a little bit of distance on this cart.
It's nice to see it move, but it's even better to see it stay in the same place. I mean, not stay in the same place. That sounds so rude. Continuously pass it. I think 3000 have a really good answer, which is the rally coming up very soon. Their ultimates are taking a second. Team Reality have to be quick. Continue put on that aggression if you want to be able to win this.
Astral actually doesn't even need the Wrecking Ball to help out. Can just go in there and do it themselves. Drops the Pulse Bomb, immediately seals the deal on that fight, and yeah, very decisive team win. This is not looking good for Team Reality thus far.
I mean, you said it best. It's not looking good. They don't really look like they know what exactly they want to do to counterplay this, and that's going to be the bigger problem. As you already see, they lose out the Tracer very early. They have the EMP, but I mean, the rest of the team, I don't know if you...
No way.
Oh
boy, that does force out the trance though. This is a very early Transcendence just to make sure that you didn't lose any supports. The rally is also active as well, but Raging Berry is already down. Team Reality should have disengaged there, just waited out the time bank before they just decided to hop in. A lot of ultimates online for them though, so hopefully they can find something. Hopefully Will can get a stick onto the backline and really make this one a reality for Team Reality. Ha, joke implied. Sorry.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, some people like what you throw down. You know, so well, we'll just have to see. What I'm curious about is the fact that they hesitated on that EMP. I already talked about Team Reality somewhat hesitated beforehand back on Lee Jing Tower, but this is now becoming a frequent issue. I mean, your team is set up, but not everybody can reach up there, and they are scouting for you.
Oh, that is an absolutely massive EMP, and Raging Berry just goes in, has the Primal Rage as well, looking to follow up, is able to take out both supports, and now Coalescence is online as well. Roblox Lover able to finish out that Soldier 76, and now it's just a cleanup on the point. And yeah, this is hopefully going to be point number 1 for Team Reality. A very good combination of ultimates just going in there and cleaning up the fight.
I agree. It was a really good EMP to bring it out, but I just kind of feel like 3000 turned off their brain for that. They knew the Sombra was coming after them, and yet 4 of them were stacked all together, and it kind of led themselves to fall. The aggression is going to continue forward, and 3000 really needs to kind of just wait a second. They don't want to end up getting snowballed similarly to how Team Reality ended up facing. All you have to do is not worry about that Sombra, and you pretty much have this in the bag. But it's all about the engagement. It's about how you're protecting your support line, and more than anything, it's about how you're going to be enabling this visor.
And right now, the Sombra has been the difference maker, finding hacks onto very key targets, specifically Salvage or Astral. And immediately, the rest of Team Reality are able to just move in and shut it down. These mines are making such a big problem for the rest of the team. But Team Reality are all the way in the back line, just completely unchecked. And yeah, they're not going to be looking too good for them here. Salvage just going in here. You see that Roblox Lover just desperately trying to stay alive. Will's actually able to take out the Diva as they regroup onto Cart. That's the thing, a lot of mobility coming in from this team. A Coalescence already online once again for Roblox Lover. We see Astral trying to go in for it, but immediately just gets hacked up. These hacks have been phenomenal from effort. As soon as they're finding their targets, they're able to just take people out. Now, this is looking pretty good for Team Reality. They're moving in here. Will still has his pulse on. Is going to be able to drop that onto the Brigitte. Is shielded away, but that is quite all right. Going to put a lot of pressure onto them. The supports still need to come in here. The self-destruct going to be dropped up into the air. Takes out Ludwig as well as the mech. And now Everett also has an EMP online. Going to be using it as well to just get to 2 people here. And Roblox Lover comes up 2. Who comes up 3? Battle Moira is initiated. And Team Reality are going to be moving this one forwards and should be able to get point number 2.
I was getting worried for a minute because Team Reality are having difficulties, well, I think at least seeing who they want to go after. It doesn't look like they're really going after a singular target, rather a group of people, and then whoever is lower in that group, then they focus that person first, which is looking like what's happening more than not. However, they still have less of a time bank going into this next fight. They do have the momentum. I'll give them that. They can just, you know, cha-cha real smooth if they want to be able to push it in. But the thing they need to continue is, who do you want to dive? Why do you want to dive them? What is your answer to these?
Here we go, Will taking the Tracer 1v1 against Astral. Is going to ruse that one out, but Rage and Barry once again finds the supports. Astral trying to clutch it up yet again, turn this fight around. Does have Salvage to help out, able to take out the Lucio. Rage and Barry has this Primal Rage and is pushing people around, now looking for the 1v1 against the Wrecking Ball, but I don't think that the Monkey comes out on top unless the support comes through. This is a very scrappy fight, all over point number 3, but still Team Reality have gotten a lot of cart progress as a result.
Really want to take this fight on top of the support line, be able to catch anybody out. That Visor's gonna slow this down, but they committed, but not everybody got it.
Oh boy, and that's gonna be a Soundbanger coming in from Team Reality. Make sure that the attack visor gets almost nothing. It's gonna force the Soldier 75th to go back in. We got a Bastion swap. We've got the swap coming in. Let's see Bastion just absolutely light it up. The pulse bomb goes on, but Salvage actually dives in the way of that bullet and gets stuck instead. Able to survive off that one. EMP comes in, only finds 2. Will's able to take out the Brigitte, but not able to take out the other one. And just like this Bastion's forward pressure might be enough. Has to back up thanks to the self-destruct here. But it looks like this is going to be 3000 being able to win this team fight out. And now it's down to 30 seconds for Team Reality to potentially win.
30 seconds.
It's going to be stressful. I'll tell you that much, Mark. Team Reality do not look confident when going up against a composition like this. Now they're even switching up. They feel that, well, the Reinhardt has to work, especially last second. And that can be extremely risky. I still think it's way better than nothing, and that's why you see them running out. They have a chance to be able to win this.
Yep, the hit scan is too good. The Cassidy absolutely clutching up again, taking out Roblox Lover. Not enough forward healing from the squad anymore. The overtime wick is burning down. They need to make sure to contest this. They're going to see the Moira swap yet again to get back faster, but a Transcendence is going to come out. And now this is 3000 just moving things forwards. We're seeing the cleanup. The hit scan is so god dang clean. Yeah, they got nothing here. Just like that, 3000 tie it up. Our series is now 1-1.
It was a very good showcasing. Team Reality managing to push that out extremely farther than I initially expected, though that sounds rude. I can explain.
Let's hear it.
They looked unwilling to commit to these fights, and that was the main point that I kind of brought in, as well as Roblox Lover gets this play of the game. I want to see those DPS going for more aggressive styles. I want to see them playing similarly to how 3000 are. That's the reason why this is tied up, and I don't want this to become a series where it's the map types of why you're winning, rather you're beating out your opponents. Because when you face contender-level teams, it does not matter the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a reminder, both of these teams, because we're in the losers bracket, they're fighting for their lives right now. So they're fighting for even a chance to continue to advance in the lower bracket and stay alive in this tournament, potentially making their way to contenders, but we don't necessarily know just quite yet. And yeah, you know, you could just tell 3000, they loved just running around and swarming Team Reality and just picking them off one by one, are not afraid to take those 1v1s or potentially 2v1s and just turn things around. That Bastion swap at the end, I think, was really key in being able to turn the map around just at the very end, turn that fight around, but it just turned it into a very winnable situation. So, Team Reality, next up, they're going to be picking the map. And this time, I hope I'm not getting baited, but we are going to be going to King's Row.
Map that I fully expected to see coming out of here. And look at that, Marks. Got it right. I'm
Woo!
proud of you, you
For now,
know?
for now. Let's not
For
jinx
now.
it, please.
I agree, for now. But this is a brawl map. This is what it's going to be. The Breaking Ball composition, I've seen it run by a couple of teams before, and I definitely think it's possible. But this is where, I think it's going to, we don't really have to stress as much what Team Reality needs to do and what they're going to be planning to do because, well, they like brawl and they really don't have to care about too much other than running towards their opponent. The biggest thing that they will need to worry about more than anything, in my opinion, is just what their opponents are going to play and how they're going to be playing against it. That can always be what shuts you down. However, again, we have to kind of sit there and say, well, we know what these teams can do. I think if we go to brawl maps, Team Reality always wins. Go to something else where dive is more enabled. 3000 are going to be able to bring the edge out, but I want to be proven wrong.
Yeah, and honestly speaking, we haven't really seen Team 3000 give us a very confident composition outside of just that
Hmm.
dive. When they thrive, it is on the Wrecking Ball Tracer as well as Zenyatta comp. Just kind of coming in there, moving very fast, and honestly, Team Reality is completely the other story. They like playing together. They like playing that cohesive unit. We see the Reinhardt come out multiple times, and especially too picking a map like King's Row. I think they want to really just let that difference shine. They're really comfortable playing in that brawly style and playing as that cohesive unit. And I think this is really going to have this is going to make it very difficult for Team 3000 to be able to just do the strategy where they just kind of play those 1v1s and win out those duels. So based off of that, I would expect that Team Reality might be able to take this, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I gotta say that I agree. We will look like to see that we're seeing a swap of sides as well, which means that, well, I'm saying well a lot. We could be looking at a possible, attempting to full hold, which is always going to be that ideal sense. I don't see why you don't attempt to try and stop your opponents from even getting close to winning. But, and I say this very carefully, what are the compositions going to be? What
Yeah.
do these teams want to run? And will we see uh the side of 3000 look good on the ball? Because I just think that as confident as they may feel, it's about what you're kind of answering to. I think that it more lacked onto the tank side about when it came to how you wanted to play the ball rather than anybody else. But the DPS have been able to kind of, I feel like they've been doing a really good job on kind of making ends meet.
Absolutely. I think the DPS lineup coming out from Team 3000 has been absolutely stellar. We see Astral completely just running in there fragging, taking like 1v3 scenarios and just winning it out with a pulse bomb in hand. And even then, we saw the soldier, the Hanzo, the long range hit scan, also just being able to put in so much value as well. So we are going to be loading in now. And like you said, user, I'm very interested to see whether or not this composition is going to get swapped up at all, if they're going to try and match them, because I think that you're going to run into a lot of problems, especially on King's Row. Going to that third point, it's going to be very hard if you're relying on that same level of just dive. You're not going to get as much value as a brawl.
You're absolutely right. We could see the AC-130, which I can't lie, I would be,
Oh, it's always
more
nice.
than it's always nice. I don't know what it is about these players and running Bastion sometimes, but that's, what makes me smile. It's the reason why I wake up in the morning half the time. And, well, we actually double shield. Okay, Marks. This is where I want to be real with you. We
Yeah.
haven't seen double shield consistently ran on this map in a very long time. And well, that's a given because of how this map feels. Yes, you could sit there on top of the high ground, but it really is up to those rotations. Double shield is not the most confident composition to be able to run on King's Row solely because there's dive, there's rush, and you're not only able to teleport on top of your opponents, but it's just really easy. I think Team Reality set themselves up for a very difficult hold here. I think it's possible, but there's no sense in why 3000, especially the way that they've already been playing, can't just break through this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of very easy Buster Bunker compositions have been made just to specifically counter that double shield. It's an incredibly good composition, especially too if you're playing some of these more defensive positions. But the problem is, especially too for like an escort E map, King's Row is a hybrid map, but you also have to give up the point in order to be able to set up on that high ground and get all of that value that you would want to get from this poke. And as a result, that cart can keep on moving, or you can give your opponent a couple of ticks on the point just as a result of trying to get that bunker. Oh, I got to wait for my shield to recharge on this Orisa in order to be able to move in there. So this is a new look coming in from 3000, but Team Reality right now, they're teasing us with a very divey composition. And Raging Berry has been extremely good on this Winston thus far. And if they do decide to commit to something more like that, I think that's an excellent bunker buster. Said those words backwards. Now, on the other hand, if Team Reality do go for more of a brawl, it's pretty easy. Just get up close and personal to 3000, and they're not going to be able to do anything. Looks like the Winston is going to be the pick here. Effort and Will going to be playing two DPS heroes that normally go in pretty quick. So let's see how this one shakes out.
Man, I almost find it funny trying to get away into Overwatch 2, and yet you come back here to play a double shield. What a world we live in. But this is where you're seeing kind of where our points really matter of how these fights are going to go. Team Reality need to take rotations, wanting to take as little damage as possible, while 3000 are set to rotate. The Sigma is able to play a lot closer than they want, but that's where the punishment goes in. You have to be careful, and you're already body blocked from your supports.
I look at this, Raging Berry just walks right into the front line, and yeah, they're immediately just forced back and split up, and the rest is history. Team Reality just absolutely stomping, and that's going to be a first point capture very decisively, very quickly.
What did I say? It just does not feel good. You already see 3000 are switching themselves off. Team Reality, if this could be given hand. Now going over to the Wrecking Ball, I have to sit there and look at you in a tiny bit of confusion. Wrecking Ball is not bad. I'm not going to say it is. But what I will say to you is that I don't think it's viable when it's in this type of scenario. That Wrecking Ball doesn't have as many escape routes. The Monkey has the rest of the backline to dive onto. They have a Coalescence. You are running risky. You are relying on your opponents to make more mistakes than you ever can.
Yeah, but still, they really want to just force the issue here, and I think that's just because Astral is so confident on that Tracer. We're seeing a very similar setup here. The Bob is now going to be invested onto the point, but still, Reality are getting the picks necessary. Roblox Lever already had that Coalescence and is just doing so much value. And they're just swarming in, and they are feasting on the rest of Team 3000. This cart's going to continue to move forwards. Very dominant team fights coming out from Team Reality thus far.
They can do what they want, but when it goes down to how this map works, especially in the geometry and how it is, I mean, you really just can't leave it up to chance, and that can be incredibly frustrating. Nobody on 3000, I feel, as much as they want to sit there and say, like, what is going on, how I feel like I'm not doing anything, it's because you literally are not doing anything. Team Reality are coming up on 5 ultimates, and they only have to commit 1 to win this.
And here we go, Effort on the back line, looking for a potential Pulse Bomb target. Oh boy, the Dragon Blade is going to be popped. Will able to take out one, but applied enough pressure though, and I think that's going to still be a very decisive team fight. Did force out a couple of ultimates here. Raging Berry uses the Primal just to escape. That might have been a little bit too much, but this should secure point number 2 for Team Reality.
Yeah, it's going to hold on for a good while. I mean, honestly, really nice to see. I think the bigger worry is, well, can 3000 stop this snowball? The Wrecking Ball composition is now only coming up on a couple of ultimates. That's a Nano, that's a Mines, but they are losing ground very quickly. At least in Reality overcommitted and are even switching up their composition, which is going to sacrifice a tiny bit of time. But even then, this is only going to get harder. I mean, now you have to dive into a Reinhardt.
Yeah, you're not going to have a good time doing that, especially, too, without your Zarya. The Mines are going to be committed onto the point, but that's okay. Reinhardt's just going to swing the hammer and just make contact with all of them, just taking them out completely. The Mines not getting any value at all, and Team Reality are just marching their way forwards. You see, This is going to be Team 3000. They're investing the nano onto the ball this time. Rangerberry just misses the charge onto it as the ball goes absolutely buck wild in the back line, but is getting crowd controlled up. He's stuck behind a Maywall, frozen mid slam, and Roblox Lover gets the kill right there. Now another Coalescence online, just going to use that one to march forwards. It's completely offensive this time around, just looking for as much of value as possible. Okay, going to get a little bit of healing in here, but this is still a very dominant performance from Team Reality. They're making this look easy thus far, and that's not good for Team 3000. A grab gets dropped in onto point, and it might be enough damage here as two people are taken out. That's both tanks for Team Reality are falling down, and so they're gonna have to go back and reset.
Oh, the misery. That's how I feel right now. That is how I feel right now. Absolutely.
That's a tough one.
It's a misery. Team Reality. Now, it's going to be very nice. Well, not nice, but the way that they really want to move in is going to be increasingly difficult as long as 3000 kind of just wait, dive, drop, you know, similar those ideas. The resources that they build are going to be absolutely essential. More specifically, that Graviton Surge can be a game changer, but they really don't need to worry about these rotations too much. As long as they rotate, they'll be fine. They also have their spawn room.
Yeah, Team Reality just completely walking around. Going into the spawn room of Team 3000. A little bit of a flank established with your Reinhardt. Moving together as a unit right now, and it's working out for them. Deadeye online for effort. You're going to be seeing it come out now. The bubble's not able to save everybody here. Just pops out a little bit too early. Couldn't find the pick onto Astral, but it's going to be met with a counter Deadeye. Everyone has to duck for cover on Team Reality. Make sure that they don't show their heads. Meanwhile, Malbugata is going to be getting that nano boost, and it's just moving through. A fully charged Zarya as well. So close to getting the Graviton Surge online. Now it has it, waiting for an opportunity to use it. Never mind, just going to beam people down Ghostbusters style. Still, the Will is trying to hold on to this one, but it's just too much Zarya frontal pressure that's going to just force Team Reality back once again.
Very, very true. Ooh, this is quite interesting. Honestly, I wouldn't expect 3000 to really be holding as well, especially because Zarya is on the high ground. Zarya is safe from necessarily being dived, but Team Reality don't know who they want to go on top of or who they can. They could really just force this fight on the point and punish anybody who walks into them, but they're paying a lot more attention to everybody rather than just one person, and, well, they get caught out because of it.
Yeah, that Pulse Bomb is just so easy. It's so free. The Immortality Field comes out, but it doesn't matter. Astral's going buck wild on the rest of the team. A very strong hold from Team 3000. We talked about the issues of this composition. Once again, they're making it work. They're forcing it, and Team Reality don't have an answer for it just quite yet.
They're calling us bozos. I can already hear it. I can feel it in my bone. And they have every right to. You know, the main idea that we had from this was this isn't going to work because of the map geometry, because of the past of what's happened. But they really don't care. They're more forcing it to work by punishing the fact that Team Reality aren't paying attention, and they're not really knowing what they want to do. I mean, Raging is leading them into a small room where mines could just be placed. If that was a full team, I'd be losing it right now.
Absolutely. They do have some ultimates online, but it's so hard. This Shatter does come in, is able to pick up both of these tanks. The self-destructs come through as well, but it's the mines once again, just causing such a big problem. It's going to take the rally out from Team 3000 to make sure that this is going to be a full reset. Oh boy, this is not looking good for Team Reality, what started out being an incredibly dominant attack.
30 seconds remaining.
I mean, I've been saying that a lot. Team Reality went from coming in here with so much momentum to what do we do? We're struggling to kind of finish this out. Look at that. They get dived. I'm lost for words right now.
Yeah, Salvage just got the nano boost, but now they don't even have their Lucio, so they're going to be slowed down a peg. They have to deal with that Wrecking Ball, but this Zarya bubbles are just so good at preventing a lot of that crowd control, and so many of the members are being lost. Will tosses out the Blizzard, not able to get any value off of that. It's quick cleanups coming in from Team 3000. Only a couple of people left, and now the overtime is going to burn down. They've been held at point number 3. Team Reality, they got to hold them before this point. Otherwise, Team 3000 looking to secure that 2-1 scoreline.
Out of everything, a full hold was not going to be on my checklist of things to see today. Team Reality kind of just fought themselves to death. It's like, you know the phrase that they lost to themselves, Mark?
Yep.
That's what it feels like. It feels like they were over analyzing every scenario, trying to figure out what their opponent's weakness was and where they should dive, where they should go, and in the end, they really should have just been more focused on that point and then punishing whoever was there. If anybody tried to even touch, it could have been a dangerous scenario, but the wrecking ball would dive in, get frozen, nobody would look, and then freely escape. I can see Team Reality being a little stronger on here, and they're even switching up their composition, expecting the wrecking ball. But 3000, I mean, they could probably win this solely based off the momentum they are pushing into themselves. Like, I really haven't seen them slow down or make the same mistake over and over again. They're learning from it, and that's scary.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the move. Pulling out the Winston dive. Well, they look pretty good at it. I don't think that they match Team 3000 in the frontal pressure that they're able to just sustain. Astral and Salvage have just been running absolutely rampant on their line. No matter what type of composition they run, this especially leaves the backline completely open, assuming that Ludwig goes in with Rage and Barry. This is gonna be a tough one, but Team Reality, gotta see what they can make stick here. Another Hanzo pick coming in as well. That's going to be dangerous. We've seen those one taps just like that, and already Lucio is down. Not looking good. The Storm Arrow is coming in. And we're just going to get a little bit of a Sonic Arrow to scout for some information. But look at this. Team Reality have the full retreat, already giving up a tick to Team 3000.
Ooh, that's not really what you want. You're running pure dive. I mean, you have the composition to even take them out at these positions as a team. You sacrifice 2 ticks, and I gotta say, it's a bit more of a mystery. Now they have to hold it, they have to hold close, but they are still losing people.
Yeah, but Effort and Ludwig might have been able to tie things up. Rage and Barry goes into the back line, is able to just take down the support. Still though, they gave up 2 ticks, and I think that's the most important thing. For a very first attack, I think that's a great outcome for Team 3000.
Fair enough, fair enough. 2 ticks isn't going to be the worst type of sacrifice, though I'm one of those people who firmly believe that you should not be giving up this point for free in any place. Because now look at this. Able to kill out that monkey, you have to force that diva to touch, but you don't have any ultimates to try and bring this back with. You do use the pulse bomb, which kind of evens it up, but you have to commit more and more, which is not always what you want.
Yeah, right now the Coalescence just keeping that Lucio alive, but now it's going to be a nano-boosted Zarya that might lead the charge for Team 3000. Oh, the mines are going to be placed in such a great position as well. A Dragon coming in to force repositioning. Oh, Roblox Lover completely just caught off from the rest of the team. Can't get the healing in, unfortunately, without dealing with these mines. Is finally able to get in there, but it might be a little bit too late. The grab coming in as well, and that's going to be the Lucio down yet again. Seems to be the name of the game, unfortunately, for Team Reality, as now Astral is moving in. Nalvieta is able to stay alive just thanks to this bubble, as well as the Bio Nade coming in. And yeah, this is just going to be the rest of a cleanup. Team 3000 are going to be able to get point number 1 pretty decisively as soon as they kill out the rest of the members of Team Reality.
It's the poor souls. I think holding it a lot closer, you can make an argument that they are going to be looking a lot better. And again, that goes back to the idea that, composition-wise, but I'm really starting to feel like I should just keep my mouth shut when it goes down to what should be rather than what is. Team Reality not really having the confidence kind of going in to stop 3000 is what's been their biggest weakness, but the point is going to be a very struggling section. They have a bunch of ultimates that they could really hit Q, but I think the Blade you could just solo it on one person and then slowly momentum it back.
Yeah, here we go. The Blade is going to be popped, looking for it, gets stolen away, but does allow a dash reset. And Will is going to be putting in work this time around. A very fast and easy take for Team Reality. As they turn that team fight into their favor, it was over as soon as it began.
You are right in that scenario. Over before it began. Very true. Now Team Reality, though the Blade didn't necessarily need it to be committed, they can rotate their ultimates, they can figure out. I think the biggest person that they really want to be worried about is Astral, who has just been doing an amazing job. Same with Salve. The ultimate as they go, oh no, not Roblox!
Yeah, that's going to be a huge pick. The Dragon is coming out just for good measure, and this Hanzo is coming up absolutely massive. We're seeing Rage and Barry pop the Primal just to stay alive, but there's way too much frontal pressure. And yet again, this is Team 3000 making a statement. A very decisive team win. Not even losing a single member in that fight, I believe.
This is getting concerning. The call to break this has not been answered. And what's becoming of it is 3000 coming halfway to the point, getting to second. This is almost kind of like weird for me to see, as the mines are going to be stopping them from pushing in. This could be a guaranteed just capture for the second point.
Yeah, the self-destruct is going to be going in just to try and clear out some of those mines. A grab gets tossed. Try and sot that monkey, but Raging Berry is already in the back line with effort. Samsara doing a really good job of keeping everybody nice and healthy, though. They were able to stall out this point, so it's not over just quite yet. Bione going in there, but the picks are starting to come through. Team Reality on the back foot. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like they will be able to win this one out, as it looks like this is 3000 just being a little bit too dominant for Reality to deal with. And yeah, as soon as the picks come through, that's going to be point number 2. It's got a Tracer clean up. It should be no big deal.
Early on, I talked about how I felt we would learn from the first map who had the ability to kind of continue forward and who had the ability to be able to break through it. And, you know, I gave that towards Team Reality, but they are collapsing underneath themselves at every point, and it's catching me off guard the more that I'm seeing it, but yet I'm still amazed at the fact that 3000 are being able to push in, and it's because they're working so well as a unit. They may be able to capture this point, and I think it's all going to be due to the dragons.
Here we go, Astral. Oh, doesn't even need it. It's actually a pulse bomb from effort that finds Stu. Uh-oh, the support line coming up extremely good for Team Reality, but I don't think it's going to be enough. A stick onto the Moira just for good measure. And Astral once again coming up absolutely massive. Oh, almost fell into the drink there. Still, this is very dominant performance coming in from Team 3000 thus far. Team Reality able to stabilize a little bit onto the point, but I don't think it is enough because Team 3000 have the better spawns here. Wildo getting close to a blade.
That blade could be a difference maker, but it's about what's happening right now and what they're going to be answering with. As that payload continues to get closer, the biggest thing that they're finding is a target to kind of collapse on. As you see, the Genji is alone right now.
Oh no, and all the members of Team Reality are falling apart. The blade finally comes in, looking for something, is able to just find the brig, but not able to finish it up, does get it. Now looking for the soldier as well, but gets taken out by the Wrecking Ball. Trades going back and forth though. Raging Berry had to pop the primal, only has 76 HP, able to back up and escape to healing. Team 3000 are so close to getting it, they can taste it. They're looking for it. The re-engagement coming in from Raging Berry, looking to pressure out the back line. And Grav is dropped on as Raging Berry gets caught by it. And now this is going to be Team 3000 just rolling things forward, tossing the mines onto point as well, just to add even more pressure onto the squad. Ludwig forced out of the mech immediately, and the Soldier 76 getting so much value from the back. That's going to be Team 3000 winning out map number 3, taking our series 3-1. 2-1, sorry.
3000 look absolutely amazing the more this goes on, and they are building up the momentum. You know, that was the benefit of the doubt that I really had to give them from early on. You know, I said it looked like they needed to wake up similarly to what I did in game 1, and it was what it was. Astral has been a phenomenal player, and I think this is really becoming more the MVP of these matches, solely just because of the cleanup. I think the cleanup
Absolutely.
has been the fact that they are able to go in, kill the target that's low, because that's what Tracer is known for, is it speaks for itself. Now the question goes into what can Team Reality do to break it. I think play as a team. Your dive. The reason Genji shouldn't be alone. The Tracer should be
Yeah.
with Genji. The Monkey should be going in, and they're making the low targets for the DPS to clean up, get the dash reset, build that blade, Q, Ryran, be able to just get a 6K. Unfortunately, Team Reality is very much collapsing. I want to see them kind of ease it up. That was their map pick.
Yeah.
And then on a map where we at first saw them, you know, on first point to second, and we're like, this is a really good push. Kind of like anticlimactic.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Team 3000, they're like a Rubik's Cube. It's pretty complicated to solve, especially too with just how their composition works. But they're just sticking to the one composition, and they're making it work time and time again. Team Reality have not solved the Rubik's Cube just yet. But I imagine as soon as Team Reality start to figure out how to find a crack in Team 3000, that they should be able to easily turn it around. Because if they force Team 3000 off of that comfort positioning, it's going to be too hard. And we actually do have a little bit of a swap coming in for Team Reality. We're going to be seeing Oro Ridit. Rid, is that how you say that? Swapping out here. And Alba is going to be coming in on that main support role. And it looks like the next map is also locked in. It's going to be Hanamura.
Ooh. Hanamura. I talked about that earlier today when we went over to Temple of Anubis. This
Yeah.
is a very annoying map to play than more than anything. That second point become frustrating, but that first point is often I think a full hold scenario. Sometimes, while it's very hard to, it's still somewhat very common to see. I think it's just the simplest mistake can punish you. And we've already seen the fact that the wrecking ball strategies has been working well. I wouldn't be too surprised if we're going to be seeing that run out again from the side of 3000, and their entire plan is to dive on top. I mean, you could just run a far on it or a Junkrat, and it pretty much gets the same job done as a Tracer.
Yeah, and that's the thing too that I wonder if this control map coming up next is actually going to work in 3000's favor because their composition thrives on mobility, thrives on being fast. And it's so often that we do see that like very fast engagement and very fast movement over from that first side into the second. As long as they can cap first point, I think there's a strong case that they should be able to just run in and then just snowball it right through second point. Especially too, if they do play that Soldier 76 instead of the Hanzo again. Once again, Soldier's got legs. Soldier can run. Soldier can get over there pretty quickly. And on top of that, too, Wrecking Ball and a Tracer, yeah, they're going to be on that second point as quick as they can. Where I think it starts to fall apart might be a little bit more onto their defense. But, well, we're going to have to just see how this one plays out. I'm curious to see how Team Reality are going to defend against this, honestly, because so far it's been a little bit of a stomp for Team 3000.
You are not wrong. We are going to be seeing the same size too, so we don't have to worry about too much. That means 3000 have a chance to stop them from being able to push in, though the likelihood of that is, well, more than what you have to stay tuned in to see. I think one of my bigger points is, will we see the return of that double shield? This is a more viable map for that strategy, though some may boo it. It's still absolutely viable in this meta and in this world of Overwatch 1. I mean, Marks, what do you feel? Would you even want to see that, especially because of just how these teams have been running?
Yeah, honestly, I can't see Team 3000 swapping off of that dive composition that they've been running thus far. It's been just so effective. Like it's just been so effective. There's no reason to swap off of it. Every time they swapped off of that composition, they've just gotten steamrolled by Team Reality. So I imagine that they are going to be onto it. And I'm going to be honest, if Team Reality go for that double shield, I think that's not going to work out well against this ball dive because we're just going to see Salvage just go right in, boop them up into the air, and then Tracer's just going to go in. Astral's going to clean them all up. And so I don't think that that is necessarily the answer. Double shield, while good, might not be good enough. And well, once again, this is Team Reality starting us out on our attack. Team 3000 on the defense. And this is interesting, but Salvage going to be sticking on that Wrecking Ball. This time it's going to be a Cassidy from Astral to support it. I'm curious to see how this one goes out as Team Reality once again breaking in with the Brawl composition. They want to rush at them. They want to get nice, close, and personal and give them a little bit of a hug.
Yeah, I mean, the teleporting strategy is what we're really used to seeing, so it's never going to be something that, like, we're going to be like, oh, what's going on? But this is really easy to break there, deciding to go on to the top left, and that at least doesn't let them make the big mistake, but it's about time, and they need to, from the side of Team Reality, they need to end this quick.
Yeah, we saw already a nice boop to make Salvage go out of there. Already gotten a point. Looking for that second tick, able to get that second tick as well. The Sigma has to move in, but can't do anything. Effort able to burn down Salvage. Not what you want to see. Also, too, with the Symmetric turret setup, it's so hard for anybody from 3000 to move in here, especially with their divey style. It's one by one, they're trickling in. They were able to get a couple of picks, but I don't think it is going to be enough. As soon as the Sigma goes down, it should be a very easy first capture for Team Reality. They're making their speed run in this point right now, user. It's looking pretty darn good.
Maybe that is looking pretty darn good, but it's just more of a lack of patience when it came to that push. They have a DC. That's not feeling too good. We are going to be going over to that pause, but I mean, 3000 could have won that. Unfortunately, they weren't patient enough. As long as they have somebody touching that point, whether that be a Wrecking Ball or the Sigma who's just toe tapping it, they can test it. That's all that matters. You want to not give it for free. It's like the Orisa. You allow resources to be burned down, and once they're out of it, you just collapse on top. That's why you sometimes, or more often, you see like a Pharah run with a composition like this. I think that was a little oversight on their part, but it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, and this is the thing too. They really have to rely on the Sigma being the anchor for the team, being the one who's going to be playing on that point, playing with the back line in order to keep everybody alive while the ball and now the Cassidy can just kind of go ham. And that's the thing about Team Reality's setup, especially to bringing in those Symmetra turrets, that just makes this so much harder. I think Symmetra actually is a pretty darn good counter to how 3000 have been playing things because they go in kind of alone. They kind of swarm around and attack a single unit, but it's usually with squishier characters that are finding so much value. And if you do set up those Symmetra turrets, one thing that Symmetra turrets also do is slow the momentum down. And I think that's an absolute killer, especially against heroes like Tracer, especially a Cassidy coming in here as well. That could really just shut that down. And you saw what happened when the two DPS just kind of funneled in there to try and contest the point because the Sigma wasn't touching. They just got burned down and melted. They were going through the car wash. And as a result, they were looking squeaky clean right into the afterlife.
I mean, you said it best more than I think I should have said it that.
I should have said it that? Sorry, words hard. Where we all been there?
English is not my first and will never be. Regardless, this is going to be hard. They're coming back into this. They've lost the ult charge that used to be from Sigma, so they go over to the D.Va. Team Reality can just push this momentum in from that DC to be able to cap the full point, but this is 2CP, so it can go either way.
Yeah, and we're seeing already Amplification Matrix tossed out here. A lot of damage coming in, though. It's a huge anti-nade, and yeah, it's a D-Mech coming in. Raging Berry able to get that on. The mines are coming in just to slow things down, but it is a Symmetra wall that is found in front, and just like that, Astral's going to get next to no progress, so Salvage has to stall out the points. Alba falling down is an absolutely massive pick, but Astral gets booped out, has to take the long way around back onto the point. This is looking like Team 3000 might actually be able to stabilize off of the Wrecking Ball mines, and we do see the D.Va hit the nano boost just for good measure. But finally, they're able to stall things out. They're able to stop the steamroll before Team Reality even got a single tick on point number 2.
I mean, as I said, it's 2CP. Though they had the momentum, they had the ultimates, they started investing, they had the aggression, they looked very prepared. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be, as you saw. In the end, they kind of just did not have the rest of the team there to be able to bring it out, and, well, they weren't able to get the victory. Now, this is where it becomes more annoying because the Wrecking Ball strategy can just walk into you. They just gotta melt them down and get the rest of the team if you want to win, so it's about speed at this point.
And look at this, teleport going into the back line, going to force out the Transcendence to potentially stall out this point here. You see Raging Berry just being so aggressive, and I love it, but now gets anti-nated, is able to stay alive thanks to the Immortality Field. A Blizzard coming in here, Alba trying to stay alive, booping people around, able to walk away with their life. Picks coming through for Team Reality right now, sending Wall back up in front. Make sure that there is no damage that can be felt from that Ashe. Raging Berry still playing the aggressiveness, trying to just completely shut down any stall potential. But it isn't going to be work. Bob is now tossed onto the point as well to slow things down. Astral using the high noon, looking for something. Has a D.Va walk in front, though. Team Reality finding all of the picks that they need. Salvage doing a really good job of stalling things out as long as they can. And now we do see the Tracer swap coming in as well. Not the typical Tracer swap. Usually we see Astral on it this time around. But that's going to be point number 2. 3 minutes and 27 seconds in the time bank. A very solid effort from Team Reality.
I agree, and it was a really good momentum shifter to bring this back into a corner of them. They want to go over to that map 5 because they won control first on, and so that means they can win the second one, or at least that's how it always feels like. 3000, I think that's where the Wrecking Ball strategy kind of just gets punished out on second point. It's not good, and the over-reliance on it is just kind of being obvious of where you're not used to playing anything else, and, well, you are going to be falling because of that strategy. I really want to see them just switch over. Even a Monkey would be something better. But I don't think they're really caring about how we feel or how we're going to, like, compositions. They say that this works and they're going to be running with it. However, even, look at that. That's Bunker right there. That is already a really good composition to play against, 3000. But it's even better on a map like this where the Orisa can be the one who touches.
I'm curious, though. I genuinely really like how Astral and Salvage have been just comboing themselves together in order to find picks, especially too bringing a Zarya into this. That bubble goes a really long way. Obviously in Overwatch 2's beta, we've seen how that double bubble, or sorry, those two bubbles have been so effective. You know, you just toss them onto the person who's moving in, and then you keep your DPS just alive a little bit longer to make all of the difference. And I think that that's actually going to be really good for Salvage or Astral. You know, give them that extra durability, get in there, and just go to work on Team Reality's bunker composition. And yeah, we do see Will on this Echo. I'm assuming the focusing beam is just to deal with that Wrecking Ball, especially too when they do reach under half. And Effort is going to have to do some nasty flicks in order to win this against Astral, but I don't know that that one is going to necessarily be possible. Still though, Astral is going to be burning, able to stay alive, and just like this is not looking too shabby for Team 3000 thus far.
Not bad, I'll be honest. I lightly expected a trade coming out of that, but they managed to put this in their favor. Team Reality is gonna have difficulties. That Ashe should not be losing the 1v1 against the Tracer. The Mercy is there to fully pocket them and the Echo. It's just about how you're dividing your resources and your attention. This could be a bigger problem, but Team Reality don't really need to be playing this close up. But hey, I'm not gonna say it's a bad idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all. Team Reality kind of on the back foot. They're playing a little bit more scattered, which is just how Team 3000 wanted to do this. It's a bunker composition. They do invest in that Echo there, but Roblox Lover very close to a nano boost right now, making sure that they have a couple of people on this point as well, stopping before that first point capture. Oh, Roblox Lover gets stuck. Okay, that's going to be the panic nano coming out here onto Effort. So Effort's going to have to put in a lot of DPS damage, and I think that's just going to be just fine. Looking for all of these members here, but the team is still scattered. Team Reality, they're not as well put together as they'd want to be. Will duplicates the Tracer, looking to potentially get that pulse bomb, but gets forced out almost immediately. And stunned up in the air, gonna just walk down, no big deal, just shake that one off. Still Team Reality doing a really good job of holding point.
I'll agree, they even commit the bongo, so they do have a stronger chance of holding. That Orisa with Halt is just able to survive so much, though using it at a very uncomfortable point. As long as they keep touching, they may be able to break this out, but I mean, look at that, many ultimates are now starting to hit Q. This may be a cluster.
Yeah, and now we're seeing the self-destruct committed just to try and stall it out just a little bit longer, but now it's just an Orisa and a Bob on the point. Still though, Effort just in the backline is absolutely fragging out. This might be a good hold from Team Reality. They're able to shut down the push. And yeah, just like that, they're setting up their bunker and they're making this one work. Samsara just in the backline here, 1v1ing an Echo, and yeah, is going to be stalled out just a little bit longer. Only a minute 30 left for Team 3000 to win out point number 1.
It's getting stressful. I mean, that point capture was really impressive solely because you could see Team Reality managing to win that out in a different, if not similar scenario. Just a slight difference. But look at that. They're just going to come back in with the copy. And this could be scary. I mean, 3000 may not be able to capture this.
I don't even know that Will is going to be able to use the copy. Gets taken out. Now a rally coming in from Team 3000. We're seeing Astrals change over to Genji as well, but this might be fine. Looks like this forward momentum of this Brigitte and a Baby Diva will be enough to at least get a single tick on the point, but I like the Soldier 76 swap as well. Just allows Salvage to just run around the back line and pressure them back, and that's going to be point number 1 for Team 3000, holding on, resetting their time bank, and now Team Reality, they got to hold them here, otherwise we're going into another round.
Oh, the Wrecking Ball's gonna have a lot of problems. I mean, you go underneath, they're on top, you gotta dive on top, and then they're just waiting. I mean, if we just see a switch to Brigitte, I feel really bad for 3000. But look at this, they are now fully committing. They want to win this with a high time bank.
And we're seeing the duplicate onto the Diva, but Will not even able to get a self-destruct on time. Unfortunate here. Now just looking to potentially sweep up these mines, but the forward pressure right now might be enough. Will stuck in that Baby Diva form, actually doing less than if they were in Echo. Salvage finds a Raging Berry, which isn't the most ideal situation. The Soldier's barely able to stay alive in that battle. Now looking with the Valkyrie Mercy in the backline, trying to frag out against the Ana, but Alba's not able to do so. Is taken out of form. and looking for an opportunity to potentially get back to the team, but is completely cut off. And that's going to be 3000 continuing to move their way onto this point and just storm things down. They found the picks and now just have to deal with a couple of tanks. And look at this, the blade comes out, the bongo gets sliced, and that's going to be the rest of the round. The panic swaps are coming in here, but it is going to be Astral holding a very close front. A Nano May coming in. You don't see that every day, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to see if Will can make this one work. It is going to force Team 3000 back just a little bit as they all swap around in order to try and tie things up here, but I don't know that it is going to be enough. Salvage still running around, going absolutely wild, as well as a rally online. This is going to just make the sustain that much better. Rage and Berry already going down. A self-destruct on the point to zone things out. Going to be matched with another one. Unfortunately, the Nano gets tossed onto the Baby Diva. I think that was a little bit of a misclick, but it's going to be just fine for Team 3000. They should be able to cap out the point, albeit with a little bit of a lower time bank. Now Will just flying on here to stall out the time as much as they can, but this is all but done, user.
I'll have to say, 3000 absolutely deserved that point. They fought tooth and nail, and they did not give in to the GCP respawn issue where too many people come back in, they don't pay attention, and, well, they fall because of it. But they managed to even the time bank up. I feel Team By the way, I do want to point out, if you are a Mercy, you're not Neptune, you know? That's the Mercy dying absolutely cost that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could debatably say the Mercy being there was unconsequential or such, but it felt like a confusing play because nobody else was distracting them. As you saw the soldier, and then eventually the Guardian Angel wasn't able to allow them to escape, and that's a bigger problem that if I was a coach, I would have to put my resignation, my 2 weeks in, right on that spot because you cannot explain that. Regardless, this is getting scary. I mean, we can talk about it, you know, the possibility of a draw, because that's always open-ended. But, I mean, as long as, let's say, we see a tick confirmed, and otherwise, Team Reality know how they want to play. And I wonder if we're going to be seeing any switches. Though they are playing close up, which, again, I don't think is the best strategy, you can let them in. What are they really going to do when you have Effort and Will who are looking to collapse on top of them, and you have Raging sitting in the back contesting the point? I think this is giving them a little too much room for 3000 to just force you to spin around.
Yeah, 100% agree. And also, too, Astral is good on the Genji as well. He's able to just put on a lot of frontal pressure, not even on Tracer this time around. And that's going to be a new curveball for Reality to deal with here. Already Will getting pressured down so much off of a counter Ash. Coach Gun to get away. Throws up the dynamite, looking for a little bit of damage, but not able to find anything. Doesn't matter. The dive is good from Salvage, as well as Astral in the back. And now this frontal pressure. Rage and Berry is still holding the front line. DMEC is able to come through, and Astral falls down. So Effort really doing their best to just clutch things up for the team. And yeah, this is going to be the Ash as well.
They come close to that tick in the back, but it seems that, well, playing close, they feel confident. Effort, as long as Effort continues to get the picks that they've been doing, I think this is a pretty stand. Though you do see a switch onto the Hog as a last-ditch effort to just punish. I think it's going to be very funny to see more than anything, Mark. But 3000, they need to get at least a tick if they want to avoid a draw scenario.
And this Hog is going to be interesting, because in theory, Salvage could go up, but that shield is just going to make it so much harder to get a good hook. That's exactly what we just saw right there, the hook landing right in front. But if he can get the Ash, that's going to be massive, able to escape barely. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of frontal pressure. It's been a while since I've seen a Hog in really good competitive play, so it's going to be an interesting one. Regardless, though, Alba does fall down. That's not good for Team Reality. That's their Mercy down. And now we have a Nano Ball flying around, running rampant on the point. Astral nowhere close to that blade, but it doesn't matter because that Ash is also getting pretty close to a Bob. Doesn't matter. A Bob coming out for Team Reality. Effort tosses that one, and as Astral cleans up Effort, still Will now going for the duplicate onto the Wrecking Ball as well. They want to close this out. Don't even give up a single tick, and it looks like Team Reality are going to be able to do so with a nice little team kill to end out that second round. Round 3.
It came close. I think the Hog was a pick that you really don't go for in this type of moment. As you saw, the Diva was paying a lot of attention and just immediately stopped it from wanting to work at all. And, well, I mean, it speaks for itself. Team Reality can now force this into a map 5 anyways. There is no possibility. I mean, we could go to a map 6 and keep our producers and such in here, some more quality bonding time, as I'd like to say. But that's up to the players to decide, not us. 3000 very much failed to kind of break that through because it more looked like they weren't playing as they were doing before. More specifically, Astral was having a lot of issues moving in as the Genji. They were paying way too much attention to the Orisa, and the Orisa's meant to bring attention. That Orisa can survive literally anything, and the fact that the Ashe wasn't able to get that said angle that they wanted, eventually it ended up collapsing. I would have much preferred to see that Tracer return for this point. You're going to be able to flank. You're going to break their attention. That Diva, poor soul, is not going to be able to look at you forever. Now Team Reality really just need that tick. And they managed to do this before, and now they have a TP to immediately walk on the point. You either break them first fight, or it's already over.
Be down to the wire. 3 minutes, though. Oh, no. Hacked up salvage. That's what you want to see. An easy cleanup. Coming in here now, Will goes back right in. He's going to be swapping around. Okay, going for the Doomfist this time. So not really having that symmetric teleport. Doesn't matter. Team Reality want to put the gas pedal down. Start rolling things forwards. Effort immediately finding Samsara in the back. Samsara immediately having to disappear. This could be an absolutely massive pick for Effort. Finally, the peel does come through, but the rest of the team is ready to follow up. Astral finds himself caught between a Doomfist and a Diva. Not somewhere you want to be. He's thankfully able to escape, but Will is just trying to bully people around. They're already on the point, almost capturing it up. This is 3000. They need to be able to find the picks in order to shut this one down, but the Diva's been demeched, and now Will's going in on the... Oh no! Samsara goes up into the air, and that gets taken down, but Roblox Lover is down. That's going to disable a lot of healing for the rest of the squad here. Ludwig coming in, trying to swoop up against this Ashe, but the Ashe has a little bit of a pocket. That's okay. We've got a little bit of a DPS duo coming in. The slam right down on your face. And this is looking good for Team Reality. They've got the numbers advantage, and they're ready to capitalize on it. The kill streak is coming through, and last but not least is a little bit of a baby Diva. It's going to be Team Reality winning out map number 4, tying up our series 4-4.
I told you, you either break them for the first fight or you lose, and it seemed that Team Reality already knew to expect the Wrecking Ball as they walk out with the Sombra and just immediately get the hack. I don't think that was a big difference, but in the ult charge economy, it was huge. It was absolutely something that helped make the change for Team Reality to bring us into a map 5. It's only going to be... Oh, that flick was beautiful. I just have to give it a bit more credit. But props to where Team Reality worked well. They look good on the Brawl, but they don't look good on anything else. While 3000 look really good on the Wrecking Ball, but sometimes they make mistakes. And the very noticeable ones at very dire moments. I think the fact that we're going over to control should not give anybody a bit more ease on either side because, well, what control point is it going to be is the question.
Yeah, and this is the thing, though, because for control maps, generally speaking, different points are going to favor different styles of composition.
Mm-hmm.
And so this makes me wonder, could this be an advantage for Team Reality? Team Reality won the very first control map, just being able to flex over to different styles. And I think that was ultimately the reason why they were able to do so. And once again, we saw what happens when 3000 are forced into uncomfortable compositions that they don't necessarily like, and maps are a great way to kind of do that. I think that this next control map might be a little bit more difficult for them unless they just win the fight out right off the bat, and that is going to be asking a lot from both Astral and Salvage to really just put on that frontal pressure and just immediately win the fights before they begin. If you're banking on that, it's not going to be looking too good, and as a result, Team Reality might just be able to take over on this final map.
Yeah. So let's talk maps and the possibilities because there are a couple within the map pool. So obviously we already know that Lijiang Tower is here. But let's say Ilios, Oasis, Nepal, and Busan. I want to take out Nepal immediately because that's a really good map. Not a really good map, but it's a really here and there map. All right. And then if you go to Oasis, that's debatably so, and Ilios immediately. So you can tell the transition is very good right here because we know for a fact we're going over to Busan. Busan is a map to where these styles are even, but it is not favored in anybody's spot on either point. I think if you went to downtown, you could debatably say it's either. This is not a moment where it's going to be like, oh, it's gardens. The dive composition is going to be better. This is night market. That brawl is going to be better. this is where the team play shines. The teamwork is going to be absolutely crucial. And if you throw out an ultimate for no reason, it's not going to look good on you.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to be an interesting one. Busan, like you said, not necessarily a very clear advantage on either of these points. And I think that's kind of the reason why 3000 would pick a map like Busan. I genuinely think that this ball composition works on most of these points. And so this is going to be a tough one for reality. If they want to continue to play the brawl where they look a little bit better, then they better be bringing their A game and have to watch out for those dives. I think the Sombra really makes a difference. We saw a lot of that on King's Row, but it's still a really tough one because you got to make sure that your Sombra is constantly either hacking the Wrecking Ball or hacking the Tracer. Those are going to be your two main targets. And the thing about Wrecking Ball, think about Tracer, they go in and they go out just like that. It's going to be so difficult to ensure that you are consistently getting that value just by the hacks on those two targets.
Yeah, the one of the roles that we've kind of also understated more as we go on. We've given them a little bit of love here and there, but I really want to focus them on this map of Busan because this is a support map. This isn't like other points where you know TPs and other ideas are very easy to come through, or like where you debatably say the tank has to lead in. Busan, all those points, you lose a support, you don't push in. You could say you could do that on Legion. You could say you could do that on Ilios, you know, depending on what point you're on, especially something like Village, where you often lose somebody, so you have to continue committing in. Uh, it's just not worth it on Busan. There's enough high grounds. I mean, Mecha Base is full out brawl, similar to downtown, which
Yeah.
can be a bit more favored to the Wrecking Ball strategy. Those supports are so vulnerable, and it matters to positioning a lot more. It's almost like Overwatch 2 positioning, where you can't just necessarily stay back. Yeah, you have to keep moving. You have to be watching yourself because we've already seen a Doomfist on the side of Team Reality, so
Yep.
that can be scary. While on 3000, they've played a Zarya, and both of those characters, though on opposite sides, are very complementary.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you also brought up Overwatch 2, because now's a good time to remind everybody what the stakes are here as we are in the lower bracket, which means that either Team 3000 or Team Reality are going to be sent home if they don't win this next map. And on top of that, too, when we're talking about the open division, these teams are playing to make a spot into the Path to Pro Overwatch contenders for the EMEA region. And that is pretty tempting, especially too, as it gets you Overwatch 2 beta access. Hey, we saw some Doomfist. Doomfist is a tank in Overwatch 2. Wild. And so both of these teams have quite a bit at stake here in order to really just prove themselves. And this is going to be do or die, pushed all the way to map number 5. And the winner of this one is going to be going up to the team that we just watched lose, unfortunately. And that's going to be Angeli's. So it's still... there's still a way to go here, but it's all going to start out with this map. And you know, we're going to be going in now, starting things off on City Center, and I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious what each of these teams are going to be bringing out. I imagine we're going to see the Wrecking Ball coming in once again from Team 3000. Astral needs to go back onto that Tracer. I think that's an absolute must. But how are Team Reality going to match this one? Your guess is as good as mine, user.
Yeah, well, you know, downtown is a
You are correct. My bad.
I just had to passive aggressive it real quick. But
be aggressive. I'm fine. I can take it. I'm a grown boy.
fair enough. But let's look at how this is going to work. This is where both of the teams' compositions truly matter. I talked about how when we saw them on Watchpoint Gibraltar, how they needed to go over to this rush and or shadow dive, whatever you really want to call it. And this is why. I mean, the Mega Health Pack is always the most impactful first fight area, and the fact that Will is on the Reaper, Astral has to be careful when they're committing in. Mal can't necessarily just fully salve, can't just play carelessly. Effort can get away with so much, but they're not playing this like a 6-man. They're playing like a somber, like a general somber comp where you go for the hack and you look for it, rather than just playing as a team.
And well, you say that, but at the same time, they still are playing as a team. They're just diving all together here. Just using that Sombra to kind of enable their pushes. Ludwig is able to find 2, but Astral trades that one back. Hanzo's still on top though, and we've seen how devastating this Hanzo can be. Just finding one-tap arrows is always a little bit of concern, especially with these Storm. Whoa, Alba able to just skate away from that one, and that's going to be Team Reality with the first cap. Never mind, gets contested actually. Salvage doing a pretty good job of stalling it out, but now Raging Berry is diving the Hanzo, is able to escape, and They're still, okay, Team Reality was able to capture up the point, so they are going to start gaining percentage now.
Yeah, they are going to hold the point, and that's what matters. Unfortunately, losing out Roblox is going to hurt. They're not really pushing in for too fast. They did wait it out. Poor Monkey is going to fall, but it's up to Will to kind of clean this out because they are the Reaper, and they have the damage to do so.
But Astral's just putting in so much damage in the backline. Will is able to take out 2, but this DPS combo coming out from Team 3000 is such a difference maker. The Coalescence just a couple of seconds too late. Roblox Lover not able to keep anybody alive. Now has to go for the DPS Moira once again. But now is kind of keeping himself a little bit of a precarious position. Regardless, Team Reality, they just need to stall at this point as it is in their favor. So we are seeing the Sombra effort needs to be able to find these key hacks. Otherwise, they're just going to continuously get shut down here. Another pulse bomb already generated. That is absolutely ridiculous. We're still in the same fight technically. And finally, Salvage does get hacked up, but is able to just hop around this little pillar and walk away from that one now. As we've seen the Zarya nice and nanoed. Not too much charge, but it's going to be more than enough. We're going to see the D.Va use the self-destruct just to get that remake, but is unable to do so in time. Just like that, Team 3000, they're flipping this point around, and they used quite a bit of ultimates for it, but I think it worked out for them.
That really felt like a fight Team Reality didn't necessarily want to win. They were hoping to win it, but they managed to get up to 61%, which is really good. Build up to that EMP. So it's taking a bit more time. 3000 aren't in a comfortable position, but at least we don't have to worry about everybody getting tackled on. There are 3 people that are ending up going to be hurt, and that's going to be the Zarya, Brig, and Ana every time. I still want to see Effort playing with the rest of the team. This Sombra is absolutely essential to make this work, and you need to be prioritizing every single hack target if you want to shut them down. But look at this. They're playing by Mega. Why? What are you waiting for? You have to just go in.
It seems like they heard you because they are putting a little bit more forward pressure. The EMP comes in, finds 3, and now Will is going in, trying to find a Death Blossom, unable to do so. A good disengage coming in from Team 3000 here, but the Wrecking Ball does go down. And now this is going to make it a lot easier for Team Reality to be able to flip this point back around, and they'll do just that. Now they're gaining percentages, just finding the rest of the members, not able to clean them up, but still. A reset coming in from Team 3000, Team Reality, take that team fight very decisively off of the back of Effort's EMP.
It's going to hold. Now they have ultimates to kind of react, but 3000 doesn't have anything, and they're the ones entering into the lion's den, as you see. I think the biggest thing that they really need to pay attention to is where their opponents are. Because look, the Monkey's just gonna walk in. Astral is getting hit by the Reaper. That's not a 1v1 you want to take every time.
Yeah, and honestly, the Reaper's just been doing a really good job of stopping Astral, especially too when you have the Lucio for a little bit of support. You don't need to focus those hacks too often on the Tracer anymore, and I think Team Reality have cracked this case wide open. They've solved the Rubik's Cube, and it's Will on that Reaper and Effort playing the Sombra.
They shut it down, and they did absolutely amazing. Now, if it's Mecha Base, I think that we're going to be looking at Team Reality continuing this momentum. However, if it is down, not downtown, but I forget what this area is called. It's always the one that I least like. This is where you can similarly see even things. This is what I mean by this is in nobody's favor. You don't have to play the Wrecking Ball strategy, but it is a good idea. Though this is completely different, actually. Raging, they're playing like the 6-man, but no, okay, makes sense. I really want to, I like the fact how we saw the prioritizing, and you're absolutely right. X are for Wrecking Ball, but even more so, they're for the D.Va. That D.Va can do so much alive, and with DM available, you shut down that D.Va, the Zen, the Brig, they cannot play the game anymore.
Yep, that's absolutely massive, but I think their target priorities have just been on that Astral Salvage line, especially too using the Reaper to get on that flank and take out the long-range hit scan has been so important for Team Reality as well. You see a very fast rotation around here, but Rage and Barry just going to be walking around the back here. Team Reality playing extremely well together. It's a constant theme that we've seen time and time again. But still, Astral taking the 1v1 against Effort. Will going for the TP up. Looking for this Soldier 76, has that target prioritization, but it's Alba and Will doing so much work, whichever target they usually dive, and Will just has so much sustain on this Reaper. Finally goes down, but takes some sorrow with them. Team Reality, it looks like this is their team fight to lose. They just have to clean up the rest of the members. They also cap the point as well, so they can just stall things out if they so choose. Would rather take it more decisively to set up good positioning, but Effort comes back now and is looking for a hack onto this Wrecking Ball. They still have the Moira, which is a lot of burst healing, as we do see Salvage try to just do something, but unfortunately he's not going to be rewarded with anything. And Rage and Barry is very close to this Primal Rage, goes into the back line here, and is going to pop the Primal just to stay alive, is able to disengage properly, loses quite a bit of HP, but they're just moving in. They have the Coalescence as well, keeping everybody nice and healthy, and it's just going to be a very decisive team win coming in from Team Reality.
That was amazing. Team Reality. Yeah, I've kind of slammed them for being overly patient at times or hesitant, but that's a scenario where you absolutely need it, and they realized it. The monkey waits, gets the healing. The Wrecking Ball doesn't have enough damage to burst you down, and well, 3000 did not fully win the fight. It was in their favor, but the fact that they weren't able to close it out meant that it wasn't very good. Now you're going up against EMP. You have 5 ultimates, but an EMP shuts down all. The trans got forced!
Oh, that's not going to be good. The trance got forced, which means, oh, wait, Rage and Barry is down. This is winnable, as Astral also finds Roblox Lover in the back. So this is going to be the team fight for Team 3000 most likely, but still, that EMP is all charged up, and with how Team 3000 have been playing, this EMP has been getting a lot of value.
I relate to the stress of hearing the Sombra decloak because you expect the EMP and then you immediately trans. That's just a player muscle memory at this point, and I really can't blame Sam. It still enabled them to win that point, but I think 3000 need to be extremely careful. They have 4 people with 4 ultimates, and Team Reality really only need to land the EMP on the Wrecking Ball and the Cassidy to be able to, I think, handily own this. But they're stacked. You're making a terrible decision. Please do not cuddle. This isn't Care Bears. Don't do it.
Oh there goes the EMP. That's going to be a 4-man EMP, and the dive comes through. It's comboed with the Death Blossom as well, just for good measure. Hack up that Wrecking Ball one more time. Make sure he can't roll away. And Astral trying to cheat, make this one winnable. I don't know if this is going to be that moment. Too many members still alive. Hack up the Wrecking Ball yet again. Still, they're trying to turn this one around. It's looking somewhat doable. As long as that mortar is alive, though, I think that Team Reality have this one in the bag. Though, an excellent stall coming in from Team 3000. They haven't given up the point just yet. The Cassidy is now moving in. And just like that, even though it was looking like a very decisive Team Reality victory, Team 3000 hold on to the point.
Yeah, they're holding on to it, but they still haven't won it. That mortar's gonna come back really quick, and they still have the sound barrier. They need to kill that Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball has been stalling that point for a ridiculous amount of time. As you see that sound barrier come in, this is where they're now gonna start struggling, especially with that Coalescence marks. This may be the end of the series.
Here we go. Yeah, everybody nice and healthy once again. The team is rolling over. They've already lost the Diva. They have that Lucio down, and now they're able to flip the point back over. It's going to be do or die for Team 3000 here. Astral losing their life. Enough time for one more team fight, if they do say so themselves. But Team Reality don't even want to give them that opportunity. Moving right into their spawn, swiping left and right, swipe that Cassidy back away. And just like this, Team Reality in an excellent position to potentially even stop Team 3000 from touching the point. The Wrecking Ball was able to scrounge their way through, but we are now into overtime. Wrecking Ball gets hacked up, deleted immediately. And now when EMP is online, just for good measure, they're flooding in here. The EMP goes live, does find 2 people. And Death Blossom just for good measure. Can anybody come back from Team 3000? Doesn't look like that is the case. Overtime now burning down. And just like that, Team Reality win it out 3-2 and will be advancing in the lower bracket.
It's so sad to see 3000 crumble in the end. But now you gotta give some love right over to Team Reality, who managed to clutch this out. I mean, it really just came down to the switch in composition and the confidence it came with the Shadow Dive to be able to be forward. And, well, it worked out extremely well in the end when it came down to Busan. I said this map didn't favor any side, and as you saw, it's because both compositions worked well, but it mattered on the team play. In the end, Team Reality, Marks, you said it very early on. They work good as a team.
100%. So big congratulations to Team Reality. They will be advancing in the lower bracket. Next up, they're going to have to take on Team Angeli, which we saw in the last round. Honestly, a pretty solid team. So the work is still cut out for them yet, but still, you want to try your best. And this is a pretty good showcase of your ability to adapt and counter a very specific team that does something very specifically very well. So congratulations to Team Reality. Once again, big shout out to Team 3000. They really put on a good effort, and they were really good at that wrecking ball and tracer composition. Also want to apologize because we're unable to pronounce their name and some of the players' names in the maps as well. So we want to say sorry for not being able to do that, but unfortunately they will be eliminated from the bracket and sent home as open division claws on here, user.
Yeah, and well, that kind of also just wraps it up for us. But we are getting eerily close to not only just the playoffs, but just contenders as a whole. I think I'm very excited to see which teams, not only from the losers bracket, make it in, but from the winners. EU has been one of the more quiet scenes, I think, in Overwatch, especially because it's so early in the morning for NA people. But it's been an absolute blast. I wake up every day for it as if I'm Patrick.
Wait, why Patrick?
Because he woke up in 3 in the morning to eat a Krabby Patty. You gotta remember the
Oh,
episodes and
I'm
references,
sorry.
Mark.
It slipped. I'm old. It's
This is
fine.
this is what
Anyways.
happens. You have a Genshin Impact body pillow in the back. I think
Why
this
are you
is
gonna
the
call
point
me
where
out
we
on
take
that?
him out.
Big yikes. But we want to thank you for tuning in for Open Division EMEA today. And I want to say thank you. This is the very first time that I've been able to cast Open Division. And honestly, I had a blast. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed it. Just to wrap things up here, this has been casted by myself, Marks, alongside the lovely username Intel. And we had Cynthia on our production. Kothar has been observing us today. User, you got any final words before we close out the show?
Highly recommend you not only check out the official Red Flash Twitter just to stay up to date when the matches are going live, who's getting streamed, because not everybody can be streamed, so we try to get the best matches and the most entertainment, especially the talent, the producing. You'll be able to see who's casting, who's observing, who's doing what. Support the people behind it because they are doing an amazing job. And if you're interested in the personalities, our Twitters are down below. You can see me cry about Fusion, who just lost to Guangzhou. Spoiler, sorry. As well as Mark, who's been doing an amazing job in the Valorant scene. So it's a lot of variety, it's a lot of love, and I can't wait to see you next time.
And just before we close out, thanks to Captain Jack for letting me step in today. I was
Oh,
not
yeah.
supposed to originally be on this broadcast, and thankfully I was able to do so. So big shout out to him as well. But that's going to do it for us. Don't worry, though. There's more Open Division happening, honestly, later this afternoon. There's going to be the NA stream going live, so make sure to follow the channel. Stay tuned for all your Open Division stuff as we get closer and closer to Overwatch contenders. And that's when things are going to get spicy. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will catch you next time. See you later.